Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Adventure Starts Here podcast. Today we'll be discussing the absolute mammoth that is Baldur's Gate 3, finally wrapping up with Act 3. Please be mindful of spoilers for Baldur's Gate 3, as well as some mild spoilers for Expedition 33 and Baldur's Gate 1 and 2. Also, if you're a regular listener, check out our YouTube channel, at TASHPod on YouTube, where Ben has been putting in some phenomenal work splicing in footage of our playthroughs for you to watch. Lastly, we changed the format of our discussion, and let us know if you like the more free-flowing style we went with. With all of that out of the way, enjoy our final discussion of Baldur's Gate 3. It starts a little spicy, so enjoy.
Kill, fuck, marry, Orin, Ketheric, Gortash.
So kill, fuck, what were the three? Ketheric, who?
The dead three. Orin, Gortash, Ketheric.
Marry Ketheric because he's a devoted husband. Fuck Orin because she's crazy. Kill Gortash because
He's boring.
what does he have to offer?
Milk toast.
It's funny because I would marry Gortash and I would
What the
fuck
hell?
Orin and kill Ketheric.
I would too. Exact same with the contingent with Orin that I decide what happens in the bedroom.
Yeah, very true.
I'm not
I
doing
might
any
marry
fucking
Orin. I
blood
don't know. She's fun.
that tells me a lot
I
about.
don't think I want
I mean-
Ketheric around. I think I could have Orin around though. She's a shapeshifter though, so it's also like if you get sick
Oh,
of her, she
true.
just turns into something else. You know, like Ketheric, I feel like I get sick of his shtick after a day or two. But like Gortash is dead 3 times over.
Well,
Yeah.
the problem with I don't know if any of you chose to kill Ketheric, but it wouldn't actually do anything. It's kind of a wasted slot.
That is a good point. That's kind of a freebie.
Yeah, that's why I did it.
I mean,
I don't
he is
know.
dead,
I mean,
though.
to
To be
me,
fair, he's dead.
Ketheric moved mountains for his family in not so good ways. So I feel like he'd be a good provider, you know?
But I feel like he would be that parent where he breaks the boundary in some kind of way, and you start pushing him away, and he's like, "No, come back," and he's really pushy about it, you know?
You know, he's clingy.
Yeah, clingy parent, helicopter parent for sure.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah, I could see that.
He went to every single one of Isabel's soccer games for sure.
Luckily, the prompt was not. It had to do with marrying him, so he's not going to be my parent because that'd be even more fucked up than it already is.
I mean, if you're choosing Orin, then I think by default that makes you her daddy.
That's true. No, it's fuck Orin all day, dude. She's down for some weird shit.
I'm marrying because you can fuck her multiple times, and like I said, she can shapeshift.
Yeah, but look what she did
Yeah, I
to her
didn't think about
mom, dude.
shapeshift.
I don't want to be the next on her shit list.
That's why you're married.
Yeah,
to her.
I want
If you
someone
fuck her,
more
she might go
domestic if I'm going to marry him. That's why I'm marrying Gortash. My opinion
I
of him
agree.
is greatly improved, actually, in this playthrough.
Yeah, and if you just look at Gortash in a vacuum, dude, outside, disregard morals. Morals don't fucking matter. I'm marrying the guy. Fuck it. Dude just wants to, live a lavish lifestyle. Sure, secret cultist of Bane, but whatever. He's gonna give me nice clothes, and I get to be an Archduke-S. Or
That's true. I didn't think about the fact that Gortash's entire thing is just that he wants to be a dictator so I could enact my list.
Exactly, dictator.
Yeah, and if you play Dirge, he really, really likes you. He'll
Yeah,
do
that's
whatever you want.
God, he is so much fucking better in a Dirge playthrough. Non-Dirge playthroughs, he is just so... He's nothing. He's so
Yep.
nothing. But in Dark Urge, it's like, oh shit, this is actually fucking... He's so much better.
Yeah, I was really surprised at just how much depth they added to him with the Dark Urge playthrough, and that just speaks to the broader point that I said when we started all of this, which is I think Dirge is just the
It's the best.
first playthrough.
It is the best. Jordan, do you give a shit about Dark? Are you ever going to replay this game?
I mean, I might, but I don't care about spoilers.
You sure? Because it's
I'm
really
100%
good.
sure.
I'm really glad that I managed to avoid spoilers for it for 2 years straight. Because it's fucking awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I probably won't play this game anytime soon, and by the time I would play it again, I'd probably forget about whatever you're gonna say, and even if not, I don't think if it's good enough, it doesn't matter to me.
Well, basically, Dark Urge is you're the fourth person in the Orin, Gortash, Ketheric squad, but Orin fucked you up and basically removed your memories because you were supposed to be balls chosen. So Gortash is like, "Oh shit, you're back," and it actually makes him like a significantly more like compelling character because he knew you.
Seems cool.
Jordan, after you killed Orin, did you go into her little bedroom?
No.
Oh,
After I
not at
killed
all.
Dora, I forgot to even interact with anything there. I still don't know if Halston's dead or not.
He's still just tied up there. He's fine.
I have no idea. I left, and then like after I beat the game, I was like, huh. I never got Halston off the altar.
Yeah, like if you go into her bedroom, the main thing, if you're not in a Dirge playthrough, is that you might have seen Dirge when you were hovering your origin characters at the start of the game. He's like the white dragonborn character. And you find the body of the Dark Urge in her bedroom
Oh,
because
shit.
in the Tav playthrough she killed the Dark Urge instead of him
Oh, that's cool.
escaping or whatever.
Yeah, Dark Urge is honestly like I regret telling you shouldn't play it. Is how
Yeah.
good I thought it was.
After playing through the game with the being the good guy, I definitely think I should have been the bad guy.
Well, I mean, I don't know if it's necessarily that the evil playthrough itself was like super good. I mean, it was like super ridiculously evil. Dirge was a lot of fun, and the ending is fucking nuts. But just Dark Urge itself, like regardless of whether or not you're like Resist Urge, Evil Dirge, whatever, like it gives you such a better tie-in to the overall plot because you're actually involved with it rather than
you're actually
Tav.
Yeah.
you're literally the most important person. You're the reason why the whole game happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like Tav is a mistake. I think Tav's like boring as shit.
I read
Yeah, it's
somewhere and I couldn't corroborate it through Google that originally Larian actually had it so that Dark Urge was like the only playthrough, and then they expanded it to the origin characters and then Tav, or the other way around, I'm not sure, but it sure seems like originally they had Dark Urge in mind as like the playthrough.
Yeah, I feel like at the bare minimum, they probably had the main character being a ball spawn at the that's the first playthrough they're going to start just because of Baldur's Gate 1 and 2, if nothing else.
Yeah, like that's why it makes sense to me that it would be the starting point, is because of Baldur's Gate 1 and 2. You are like the ball spawn of all fucking ball spawns.
Yeah, I imagine that they did not do it just because probably focus testing, I assume. They probably focus tested a certain cutscene with Alfira in Act 1, and from that feedback, they were probably like, maybe we should make Tav. Maybe.
I mean, I feel like there's an easy solution to that, which is just like obscure that behind like some checks to like resist it or something. I mean, maybe
Yeah, I agree.
that kind of goes like against the point of it maybe, and like undermines some of the stakes of being Dark Urge, but I mean, if that was the real problem, then there's an easy solution for that. I think that they just created the ideal video game of all video games, and like the game's a fucking playground, so they just wanted to make sure that you had as many degrees of freedom as possible.
Yeah, like I guess if they're going to put the Dark Urge in the game, then as well as other main playthroughs that you could have, then you may as well go all in with it, right? And to do that, you have this like really fucked up murder scene that happens in the first act to demonstrate, hey, this can happen. Be careful. You could kill the fucking shadowheart that you've been romancing all game. You better pay attention.
Yeah, that was like the crazy thing about Evil Dirge. I need to go back and look at how like good Dirge or Resist Dirge ends, because there is not a permutation for Evil Dirge that's pleasant. It's either you literally kill the entire world, or you're like a schizophrenic crazy person hunting down your former squad. Like the fact that it has the option piss yourself was like, oh Jesus Christ, like what happened here?
Yeah, I think the epilogues are some of my favorite additions to the game that they made, bar none. Because like just to give some context for Jordan in particular, the original game on launch it didn't have an epilogue at all, like the little party with your friends, and the game just ends after the scene on the docks. If you know which
Yeah.
one I'm talking about.
Yeah, this was actually the first time I saw any epilogue because I'd never played it after they patched it in.
Yeah, I don't think there was a single extra like post docs cutscene in the original game. And then characters like Karlach just get completely shafted because there's no way for them to have any ending where they live in a reasonably happy way.
Yeah, Karlach was especially egregious because there were certain permutations in the original ending setups where if you did things in a certain way, you wouldn't even see her. She would just die off screen. It was fucking stupid.
Yeah, so that was how my like first game ended because I beat this game, I don't know, around a week after it came out. And the ending I got, I was like goody two shoes all the way through my very first playthrough, and the ending was like horrific. It was like Karlach got turned into a mind flayer. Astarion is like, oh shit, my tadpole's gone. I'm like burning up in the sun. Lae'zel didn't do anything because I missed all the Githyanki stuff. And the only person who really had any kind of good ending was Shadowheart. Everyone else, it was just like, well, bye. This sucks.
Yeah, that also reminds me about the original evil ending where you know when your character sits down in the throne and like says their one voice line in the entire game, that's when the game ends. Like there's nothing after that in the original endings.
Yeah. Yeah, the messed up thing Thomas mentioned about the Astarion ending in the original is that that part where he gets burned by the sun, I'm pretty sure that happened even if you ascended him, which isn't supposed to happen. He's the vampire.
Yeah, that sounds
ascendant.
like a bug, right?
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
I mean, it certainly feels like a bug, but they just didn't have anything else to replace it with, right?
What month did this game come out?
I think it was in the fall. Like I think it might have been September.
So in one game of the year
Yeah.
with all this broken shit.
I mean, it wasn't
yeah.
broken. It wasn't broken. It just didn't have like the most satisfying ending in the world.
Which is apparently the same as what happened in DOS 2, but the difference, even DOS 2 added those like panel slides or whatever, kind of like Tides of Numenera did. But then this game just goes whole goddamn hog, and you get the entire party with all of your characters after. And there is so many. There are just so many things that can happen in that party. Like you can get letters from Ethel if you let her live. There are so many tiny little things that will get called back on in the party camp. Did you guys? I assume you guys liked the party edition.
So I did when I experienced it. This playthrough, Withers didn't invite me to a party, but and it was kind of disappointing because I did want to see like some of the evil permutations of the epilogue, but because I was a unholy assassin, I basically had to do it ball set or be tortured for eternity. So if I did see the epilogue, I read about certain things in the evil playthrough I really wanted to see. Like when I romanced Astarion, who was ascended, I didn't like that he was kind of a dick to me. So I did get my revenge on him in my ending choice where I just made him explode basically. But what I wanted to see really, and this is the only something I've read about, is that in the epilogue, he's just being a douche, and you can forcibly make him like kneel to you. That's what I wanted to see so bad.
Yeah, and I mean, just like touching on Astarion's character in general, like he's a. Actually, I don't want to get too far away from the camp stuff. Did you guys have more stuff you wanted to say about the camp? Because I just think it's great.
I didn't give a shit about the camp because there was already like I didn't like have a good narrative experience with the game. So by the time I got to the camp, I was like, yeah, whatever. It didn't really change anything for me.
I'm in the same boat as Ben, where it was either my party died after the Netherbrain died, or they died in a camp later on. So there was no camp. There was just murdering
Oh,
them.
right. What didn't you like about the narrative, Jordan? Is it anything unique to Act 3, or is it just the whole thing?
I mean, it's just kind of like how everybody's shit resolved. Like, I feel like Shadowheart's shit resolution. I regret her switching over to Saloon. Like, I feel like she would have had a better time if she stayed Char. And yeah, Karlach has to go through bullshit. She doesn't get to just fucking be chill and living. You have to do some kind of nonsense, like compromise ending. And then past that, like the main narrative thing is basically nothing if you're Tab. So that wasn't interesting.
I'm
Which
curious how like Shadowheart rescuing Night Song, or no, I'm sorry, Shadowheart killing Night Song and rescuing her parents would turn out.
I figured you wouldn't rescue her parents if you were still on the Char side.
Oh no, I fucking killed the fuck out of them.
Yeah, me too. I mean, they do give you the option, but it just seems like, I don't know, I feel like you might get fucked really hard by Char with like in terms of like gameplay consequences, so I didn't do that, and I was just like, fuck it, just kill him. But I was just curious, Jordan, what ending did you get with Karlach?
Mind Flayer.
Oh,
Oh, yikes.
damn.
Oh, that's a
Well, no,
rough
I
one.
looked him up.
There's
I looked him up because like the Steel Watch guide tells you like, hey, Karlach, you should get your shit looked at in the forge. So before I blew the forge up, I was like, I think I missed this, and then I looked up like the options you could get, and I was like, these all fucking suck. Like she's not going down there with Will. Like fuck that guy. So I was like, fuck it. I was just gonna let her die, but then she was like, I really want to be a Mind Flayer. So I was like, whatever.
Oh,
You can do
damn, that's a
that.
shame. Because, like, the ending where you go with her to Avernus and Will can come to as, like, a third wheel is, like, my favorite ending in the whole game. Because what happens is Karlach, Tav, and Will, if you let him, they, like, jump out of a portal into Avernus. And then Karlach takes out a bunch of cigars and, like, lights it with her fingers. She's like, let's get to work. And then
Like,
just
Duke
go killing
Nukem.
demons. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and like that's one of the only like true positive endings you can get for Karlach because for whatever Withers reasons, you get to see her at the party at the end, and she mentions like, "Yeah, we found this forge from Zariel, and we're gonna go there and we're gonna try to get my engine fixed." So it still like gives you some amount of hope where the other endings are just fucking depressing.
Yeah, and I don't know if you knew this, Jordan, or if it's been discussed already, but Karlach was actually added like really late into the development cycle of the game. So I think a lot of the reason why her narrative doesn't really feel fleshed out is, well, because it's not.
I think it's fine. I think she just has like a poor resolution.
I don't know. I think the resolution of her going to hell with Will and Tav is cool.
Yeah, but that's the only good one. And I kind of see Jordan's point because I thought about this originally, where like if you look at her like story arc and Gale's story arc, they're kind of similar where they both have like a bomb in them. But like Gale gets like become a fucking god and Carl just gets fucked over, just leaves a bad taste in my mouth.
I wish it
And
was the other
it
way
did in my
around.
first playthrough. Yeah, me too. And that's why
That'd be so
I made it
sick.
I made it right for her. In this playthrough, Act 1 instantly Dark Urge, you see Gale's hand in that portal, you just rip that shit off, and that's it. Rip Bozo, get the fuck out of here.
Well, I
it's-
read that if you play as Karlach, you can ascend to heaven with Gale.
I think there's some. Yeah, you can do something with him. I think as any origin, not just Karlach.
Yeah.
I think.
And then that's apparently like what people say is like the best possible outcome because yeah, she gets to go to heaven with him, but it's still not like one that first of all, I don't want to interact with Gale, and second of all, I want her to be alive on fucking Faerun.
Wait, I missed it. Who was your third party member? You had Karlach, Shadowheart, and who?
A Jaheira, but it was really like just Phil because like I didn't
Okay,
really
yeah.
like a fourth character.
That's kind of a shame because I actually think Gale is one of the more interesting characters for an evil playthrough. Obviously, you're not going to have him in a full evil Dark
Yeah,
Urge run,
that's what I was
but
about to say.
like I thought he was pretty fun to have in my evil playthrough. That was again power at any cost, and like his fucking absolute ambition and desire to get the crown of Karsus, I feel like played well in an evil playthrough. But
It's like when you say evil playthrough, it's like a pseudo evil, right? Because you have to save the Grove, right? Or otherwise he just leaves.
I think he's one of the ones that can stay. It's Karlach and Will that will leave.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess he just fucking hated me. Well, wait, no, that's not true. He was dead. But in a previous playthrough I did, where I killed the Grove, he fucked off too. So I guess he just didn't like me.
Yeah, it
There's
might have
a-
been just super low approval.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Well, while we're on the subject of Dirge, one of the questions Jordan had in the thing was about egregiously evil shit. Jordan, did you want to ask them about that since they did the evil shit?
Oh yeah, what's the most remorseful that you guys were for an evil action that you took either in this playthrough or any playthrough that you've done in this game?
So the weird thing is that like maybe it's because it was so much time that has passed since my last playthrough, but I was actually very okay with like all the evil shit I had to do. I actually loved it, reveled in it even, a lot of them. But there is one thing that I've literally never done in any playthrough, and it's like I just I physically can't do it. It's in Act 1 with Arabella. It's the evil choice, and I just can't do it. It's letting the snake bite her. And it's less about her. I don't give a fuck about kids, but I just can't deal with the snake.
That's hilarious.
As you were describing that, I was like, wait, who's Arabella? Oh, it's the chick with the. Oh, he doesn't care about her. He just doesn't want to see that fucking snake.
Exactly.
It's like you killed every single fucking kid in the grove. You don't care about her. You care about the snake.
It's funny
Yeah.
because she got bit in mine.
And you were playing the good guy.
I let that bitch get bit, and then I just was like, all right, now the rest of you die. Like I let him do it, and then I killed everyone else in the fucking room.
You know, it's kind of like talk shit, get hit. It's kind of my thing where I was like, she kind of deserved it.
I mean, she did. She really did.
Yeah, that's why I was like, I'm not intervening. Let's see what happens. And then, Bozo.
Just tell the parents, like, gotta watch your kid better.
Exactly. Have another one, dumbasses. Take 2.
Is that like the only way to kill a kid in this game? Because I know that like normally, like in just regular exploration, if you attack any children characters, they just like spurg out and run away. You can't actually kill them.
Yeah, that's what happened to my Yenna in my first playthrough. She like bugged out.
Wait, I'm sorry. I lied because literally in this playthrough, Orin stabbed the fuck out of
Yeah,
Yenna.
oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, Yenna was mega dead by the end of my playthrough. I was confused though. I thought Orin takes a party member, and she had access to Shadowheart, but she took Yenna.
I think there's only a certain subset of party members that she can take, and if they're not available or they're in your active party, she takes Yenna, and that's literally the whole reason why Yenna exists in the game, is to be kidnapped if there are no other valid choices.
I will say, actually, sacrificing Yenna was a pretty big feels bad, man, because if you speak with Dead on her after she dies, all she talks about is like, oh, just go cook some food for me. Like, how do I honor you? Oh, just eat some food. It's not a nice one.
Is that your choice for Jordan's question?
I mean, honestly, this was the first Evil Dirge playthrough I've ever done, and it's pretty hard to top that fucking ending, dude. Like, when you mind control your other 3 party members and just make them fall to their death, and then you just slaughter literally the whole world. Yeah, I don't know if it gets much worse than that.
Oh wait, I'm sorry. My lie is too strong. In the Evil Dirge ending, a 3rd child dies. I just remember this. They get impaled by like a ball sword in the chest.
Oh yeah, that little tiefling kid.
Yeah.
Jesus.
So 3 kids can die.
Yeah, I think for me, like the absolute most fucked up shit is some of the stuff Thomas was talking about with the Vampire Ascendant stuff. Like, oh my god, you talk to the people in the jail cells, and it's so fucking sad. And then you go through with what Astarion is telling you that he wants. You kill 7,000 people just to give him a power grab, and that's fucked up. But I think the most fucked up thing is doing that and then mind controlling him with the evil ending. Like you went through all of this just to not have an ulterior master anymore, and now you're mind controlled again. Get fucked.
I don't know. I ended up like having him as my main romance, and I think he earned his gruesome death in the end. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, he's not much better. I mean, he looks at that Crown of Karsus, or no, he looks at in my playthrough it was Astarion took one look at Orpheus and was like, I know what you're thinking, just do it. So he reaped the fucking whirlwind on that one.
Yeah, I asked this question because after doing like a kind of good playthrough, I ended up not giving a shit so much about most of the characters, where I was like, I think I would have liked just fucking dudes up.
Yeah, like go ahead, Thomas.
No, I was just gonna say, I feel like I really wanted to like steer you in the direction of characters to choose, but then I was like, nah, I'll just let him natty it, because I knew the ones you were picking. I was like, he's not gonna like these.
I mean, the only one that I feel like I should have taken that I didn't was Lazelle. Is that her name?
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah, I think she's the only one where I was like, yeah, I probably should have taken her. But like past that, I don't know who else should I have taken.
And especially if you didn't like the other characters, Lazelle's pretty good because she also hates everybody.
But yeah, like something you were getting at is like potentially liking these characters more if you kept them evil. And that's kind of a pivot into one of the major discussion topics that I wanted to have, because like I think there's a reason for that. I think that there's like a common element between all of the companions in this game, or at least the ones that were like developed for longer. So not Halsin, not Minthara, maybe not Karlach, but all the characters like have this, critical component affecting them like physically in some way that the tadpole cures. And in a lot of those evil playthroughs, you're just like giving in to who they were as a person instead of like letting them evolve and grow past the thing that they had or that they have in their bodies, I suppose. And so I don't have anything written down for this. I just kind of want to freeball it and see what you guys have to say. But I feel like in this playthrough, I finally nailed down a core theme of this game. And it's because I was listening to the soundtrack at work, and one of the songs came on, and it was called Legacy of Ball. I was like, oh, Legacy of Ball, that's kind of interesting. It's like, calling back to Baldur's Gate 1 and 2. It's calling back to, everything that happens with Orin in Act 3. Ball is obviously pretty central across the game with the Dead 3, but I started realizing that like feeling of legacy kind of goes across all of the characters. Like Astarion's legacy is 200 years of pure shit in his words, and the story of the game is trying to like evolve past that. Shadowheart was indoctrinated by a cult. Her story is trying to evolve past that. Same with Gale. He, was indoctrinated into loving Mistra, but like his character arc is evolving past that grief and like figuring out who he can be, and like getting past the fucking bomb in his chest and everything else. And I feel like that element is pretty true. I think it's pretty true of the villains as well. Like just look at how being a ball spawn affects Orin. Look at literally just the legacy of Ketheric, period. I think it kind of pervades the game, and I'm so just curious to get your guys' thoughts on that.
I didn't even think about this because I was doing some last minute note writing because I saw those meta questions that Thomas put in there about Saravak and Vaconia, and I just realized that that's also one of those legacy things probably that they tried to weave into the narrative for better or for worse that I'm sure we'll get into later.
I think.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
Go ahead,
Tom.
Jordan.
You.
Yeah, I mean, I think a core clash with the legacy thing is letting Tav be an option, because I think that's just a giant mistake. So like, I agree with you, Seth, that like definitely legacy is like a big thing, but when you play Tav, I feel like you just kind of miss like a huge component, which it sounds like Dirge gives to legacy, because Tav has no legacy, like seemingly at all.
Yeah, and like that's the thing with Tav. Like personally, I'm glad that Tav is in the game because of what Tav is supposed to be. And this is also a reason why I think Dirge should be your first playthrough, because Tav is intended for someone who wants to role play a character.
Yeah.
All of the other characters are obviously pre-built. You don't need to think of a character. You are Shadowheart, you are Gale, whatever. But if you're playing Tav, you're pretty much just a nothing burger with no real tie into the plot other than trying to cure your tadpole. But Tav becomes very fun the second you've played some tabletop D&D, or you have like a character that you think would just be fun to role play in Baldur's Gate 3. And when you do that, it's really fun. But if you don't know that going into it, then yeah, the first playthrough is going to be kind of rough.
Yeah. No, I agree 100% actually. And that's actually a really good point. I think in the future, if I ever recommend this game to someone, I think the first question I'm going to ask is, well, have you played Dungeons and Dragons? And if they say no, then I'm just going to tell them to play Dirge. If they say yes, they're kind of familiar with like the playground of imagination that the game is, or at least is kind of inheriting from. And so they can make the story how they will. But I do think Dirge is like perfect for someone who either like doesn't conform to those playground experiences very well or has never played Dungeons and Dragons. I think that would be the way to go.
As someone who's both of those things, I agree.
Yeah, and as far as the legacy comment goes, I mean, I think you're exactly right. I think that, I mean, legacy and like the concept of harnessing your own destiny kind of permeates the whole game, right? So I feel like there's just this constant tug of war with every single character, and it even scales up, right? Because like Baldur's Gate has the legacy of like still being haunted by the ball spawn, right? And even that kind of comes back. But every single character and every single kind of motif in the game is involved in this tug of war between the past that you have inherited and the future that you can choose. And so your run is the canon, right? So whatever ending you carve out is the history that this world, your legacy, remembers and is what's etched into the history books. And I think that's a cool little feature.
Yeah, and I think what you said about, remind me exactly how you said it. It was like you're either giving into who you were or becoming a new person. I forget exactly how you worded that.
It's a tug of war between the past that you are inheriting by virtue of what happened to you earlier in your life and the future that you're electing to choose.
Yeah, exactly. Like the way you said that is absolutely, I feel, is the common factor between every single companion, and that's why I think it's such a core component to the narrative.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I'll be honest, I didn't really put the narrative of this game under the same kind of microscope that I usually do because I knew what it was and I knew it's kind of I don't want to say limp, but it's kind of limp.
Very
So
limp.
it's cool to evaluate a theme that I didn't really pick up on very well.
So I feel like that's like it's a uniting theme. So like I feel like if someone were to ask me like what's Baldur's Gate 3 about? What can I expect from it? I could probably basically tell them that. Like it's a game about people with a bunch of trauma getting together and either evolving through that trauma or becoming better people or becoming worse people for it. Now obviously that doesn't say as much about the actual events of the game, what you are doing from point A to point B of the game. So Jordan, I feel like you have a fair bit to say regarding the narrative on the hater level, if you wanted to go into it, because I think that a lot of the criticisms that I'm sure that you have right now were definitely true on launch, and it sounds like for a first player experience like yours that it hasn't improved much.
Yeah, I don't think so, and I think it's primarily like the tab thing, right? Like, because I feel like Dark Urge sounds like it's to be a lot better because then you have like purpose through the world, but tab feels like you kind of don't, and it's just like you got to get the tadpole out of your head, and like you like just watch people around you just get like eviscerated or some shit. Like some crazy shit can happen to other people, but you're just like this random guy who just doesn't want to die, and I think it's pretty weak. And then like yeah, you don't really get motivation until like halfway through the game at all. And so you're kind of, at least for me, I was just playing for my characters. And then so when my characters didn't have resolutions that I found good, I had nothing left to give a shit about after that. To the point of where I was like, can I be a home? I almost thought about being like, do the betrayal rug pull at the end where it's like, I'm the absolute now. I was like, do I want to press that button? Like it was closer than it ever would be on a like another game with like a good dark side.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. I think that the narrative of this game has two big problems. One is the pacing, which we kind of talked about last episode, I think, where Act 1 there's like not that much narrative really hooking you in. Act 2 kind of lore dumps you, and then Act 3 kind of like wraps everything up kind of quickly. And it kind of plays into the second problem, which is what Jordan was talking about, which is it doesn't really feel like the main narrative has a whole lot of like magnetism behind it. Because like the reason I think Act 3 is so good is for everything other than the narrative. Because you go in there with your party members, you're like, all right, Astarion's gonna finally fuck up Cazador. He's gonna get even with his abuser. Shadowheart is going to do whatever with the Church of Shar. And there's like all of these characters that have all of these really, really intriguing and just compelling through lines throughout the entire plot. And then at some point you just have to be like, oh yeah, this fucking stupid ass brain thing. I guess I got to go do this now. So it's just kind of strange how the worst part of the narrative is the critical path. And I will say that's a Larian thing because that's exactly how DOS2 was, by the way.
And like my feelings on that when I played the game for the first time, like I hadn't really played a lot of CRPGs before this game. I think maybe only Pillars of Eternity, I think at the time was the only game I played. Yeah, because I played Disco Elysium after this game. And I saw your criticisms like echoed from other people and like I agreed with them. But at the same time, I just feel like the core events of what happened in this game are just so fucking cool that I didn't give a shit. Like you're basically a couple of gods in some cases, literally with Gale. But you're fucking climbing a fucking elder brain with an ancient Netherese artifact slapped on there, and you're fighting a fucking mind controlled red dragon with illithids behind it. Like that's just fucking cool, right? Is this a case where the rule of cool didn't apply?
I don't think the rule of cool applies because it doesn't apply it until the literal end of the game. Like there's so little appropriate buildup that like yes, the finale is cool, but like I said, there's not a shit ton of cool stuff before that.
Yeah, and I think even like a narrative and a gameplay segue where that last encounter to me was such like a slog that anything that could have been cool, which it wasn't that cool because I don't really have like the backstory that you guys do of like knowing what's going on in the world, is completely gone because I'm like, what the fuck, man?
Even with knowledge of the backstory, I just thought about what you said with the rule of cool, Seth, and like I'm not like the super biggest D&D guy. Like 99% of my D&D experience is from playing like Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 and Planescape Torment and stuff like that, and Icewind Dale, all those like interplay Black Isle games. But like my experience with Mind Flayers is that they were kind of like just trash mobs in Baldur's Gate 2 in the sewers. I mean, they were very lethal trash mobs, but they were essentially like trash mobs. So when I played 3 and I saw that the big bad was just a giant brain, I thought it was kind of lame to
Yeah.
be honest. Like it's just a
Yeah,
fucking
I
brain.
agree with that. I agree.
I do have to say, upon playing through the game again multiple times, like it's, you know, the first time kind of a cool surprise, especially if you know what an elder brain is, but upon repeat playthroughs, yeah, those cutscenes do just kind of look doofy.
I mean, honestly, for me, like the cutscene at the end of Act 2 where they like pan over and it's just a big floating brain with a spinal cord is, I'm gonna be honest, it's fucking corny. It's corny as shit. I think that's maybe the core issue with the narrative is just a lack of the villains ever really feeling compelling, I guess, because like I don't know, you never really interface with the absolute / the nether brain, so it's just kind of like there in the background. And then by the time that you get to Gortash, you're killing Gortash. Orin feels pretty cool because she's constantly showing up. I think that the problem is they just don't really introduce or have enough scenes with the villains before you're just kind of killing them.
Yeah.
So they don't really like. They just feel so disconnected from everything else that's going on.
There's no gravity behind them. Like even like Ketherick, he's not around long enough to have like a nice amount of gravity. And another thing that I think is
Yeah.
weird, like it's like when you show up in Act 3, like it's like, oh my god, the armies of hell are coming, and then they're fucking not. So it's like, okay, I guess there's not a lot of consequence to this Elder Brain thing.
I always felt like that was a pretty big problem in my first playthrough. Like, I actually made a point to like walk around this time and see like what the effects of the absolute marching on Baldur's Gate is, and it's actually explained. It's just very weak because of how the game presents it. So what happens when you see the Elder Brain for the first time and the Dead Three are down there in Ketherick's basement? You know, like the fucking D&D nerds that they are. They say that Ketherick's army is going to march onto Baldur's Gate, and Gortash's army will defeat them, and he'll be the savior that saved the city. Okay, cool. But then the entire army marches at the end of the act. You're only able to leave the act because they marched. And so if you go to the front gates in Rivington when you first get there in Act 3, it basically just says, yeah, there's a lot of dead guys out there.
Yeah.
We killed all of them. We're good. I'm like, wasn't there supposed to be a showdown? But
Exactly.
they did at the same time. They told you, yeah, Gortash is the hero, and now he's the Archduke. But yeah, just the way that's presented is very
weird.
strange. Like there was a climax that you didn't get to see.
It's very
Wait.
jarring.
Yeah, that's weird because like if you go around and you talk to some NPCs, they'll like express some level of anxiety. Like if there's, I know for sure there's an NPC in the bank who, if you talk to her, she'll be like, "Yeah, I'm taking all my money and leaving, and if you're smart, you will too because of the Absolute's army marching or whatever."
Yeah, it seems very disconnected and weird. Like, and I think that's kind of like something I think there's like a lack of consequence for that the narrative has. Like, it's kind of like the main character is what drives consequence, but like the villains don't do anything that like gives you or like a reason to hate them or anything. They're just kind of there.
And honestly, one of the biggest parts that bugs me, like on kind of an autistic level, but in a way that I think it also affects the broader narrative, you got the dead three. It's three villains: Ball, Merkel, and fucking Bane. You have 3 acts to this game, and you're not going to put
Yeah.
any of them in Act 1? What the fuck?
Yeah,
Yeah, for
that's the
sure.
early access thing for sure that we talked about last episode or whenever. Like, it definitely was like, yeah, don't put them in yet so that we don't spoil or whatever. And I think it's a pretty big miss narratively.
Yeah, I agree. I think what this game really, really, really needed was a John Arenicus. If this game had a John Arenicus, it would have like transcended space and time.
Yeah, and I think that like having something like that to represent the absolute, I kind of brought it up in the last episode, just if you had some kind of figure to tie in like physically to who the absolute is, it would be better. And you kind of get that in Act 3, but by then it's too little too late. Oh, giant squid boy, okay, dead. Like you just needed something and they waited too late for it.
I wanted to touch real quick on what Jordan said earlier about kind of lack of consequence. So I wanted to talk about illithid maxing. And Jordan, I don't think that you used a single
Correct.
tadpole, right,
Yep,
in your
none.
playthrough? Yeah, so the reality is there is zero consequence. You can pop that shit like Molly. Like it doesn't fucking matter. Um, just as much brain matter you can replace with tadpoles, the better. It's all gameplay upside, zero narrative consequence, except if you take like the super tadpole, you get like veins on your face. But you get to fucking fly, which is the ultimate quality of life. It's better than everything. You just get to fly everywhere, and it's like there's no reason not to do it. And considering like the entire game, you're supposed to be led to believe that like turning into a mind flayer is horrible. Like they do literally nothing like to punish you for kind of pushing the limits on that.
Yeah, I think because I remember you mentioning that like a long, long time ago, like when we were in Act 1, and I think it's another like weird issue of conveyance that Larian made, just like how they try to like rush you on time in Act 1 of like, oh shit, like you need to figure out this tadpole now, not now, but there's no consequence. It's like the same exact thing with the tadpole of where it's like you better not fucking do this, but as what you're telling me, it sounds like it doesn't fucking matter, and actually you probably should do this.
I will say, despite having no actual gameplay consequences, I still almost never go full illithid because I don't want to look ugly.
Same.
I used to think that, but there's mods now, so it's not a big deal. That being said, I did not. There is a mod to like completely remove it. I only use the partial removal, so it's still there, but it's like not.
Yeah, because it's hard to look at.
I mean, speaking of
Speaking
of mods to
ugly.
remove shit, dude, I'm so sick of how bloody my character was the whole fucking game. Like, I was gonna install like a remove blood from cutscene mod, but like I don't know, I don't remember why. It had some like annoying dependencies or something. But it's just like, why? Why am I always bloody every time I'm talking to anybody in a cutscene?
You gotta make water
Huh?
and like climb in a puddle, bro. There's all sorts of ways to get that shit off of you.
That's
Now you know why.
ridiculous.
Now you know why every single caster in tabletop always takes prestidigitation. Every single time they will take that cantrip.
Mhm.
No gameplay impact, but I don't want to smell like butt crack every time I go into a fancy castle.
That's actually kind of like a pseudo consequence of not needing to long rest. Because when you long rest, I think like the game kind of treats that as taking a shower as well. So if you rest often, you probably wouldn't be so bloody
But if
during dialogue. But if you're min-maxing, you're not resting. So
and
that's
also,
just
if
how
I
it
go
is.
on the date with Karlach, apparently the long rest happens after that. So I'm just fucking bloody as shit while we're in the fucking rooftop restaurant.
Maybe she likes that.
No,
The
I
same
mean it's
thing-
kind of like appropriate, but I'm sick of seeing like I just have blood all over me all the time.
The same thing happens if you like you go to the circus and you get some of that face paint and you make yourself look like a clown. If you put that on and
That's
go on
so
the
funny.
date with Karlach, you have the clown paint on
That's
for
so
the
good.
entire thing.
Does she comment on it? I think that's too much, right?
No.
Yeah, that's too much. Be sick though.
That being said, there are some pretty crazy things that can happen in this game like that. Not that specifically, but I remember a couple years ago, I read on the Baldur's Gate 3 subreddit that someone found like the rarest possible permutation of an ending sequence you can get. So there's one class called the Wild Mage it's like a wizard subclass, or is it sorcerer? I can't remember.
Sorcerer. Yep.
Regardless, their gimmick is that every time that they cast any magic, there's always a chance that something random will happen. Sometimes good, sometimes bad, always random. And this person accidentally got an ending setup where the last spell they cast in the entire game caused their party members to turn into cats. So in the ending sequence, when the characters needed to talk, they were cats and they meowed.
That's sick.
What the fuck?
Yeah, it was pretty crazy.
I had no idea that if you have a character that's an animal in a cutscene, they don't do their dialogue.
I guess so. I haven't seen it myself, but I read about it and I saw like clips of it like years ago, so I know that it happened.
So if you do that and then you have speak with animals going, can you understand them? I need to know this. I'm about to boot the fucking game up right now.
That sounds awesome. Jesus.
I have no idea, but
I'm so curious about the speak with animals thing. Holy shit. Someone needs to answer that.
I get the feeling that because it's kind of like a systematic outcome, they probably don't have lines recorded for, or
The
they
same
just play
lines.
like the regular
Yeah.
lines that you would
Yeah.
say.
That's
as a
what I would
human.
expect. Maybe. I mean, who knows? They'll probably like bitch about having to be a cat or something.
Well, how did you guys feel? You know, we've talked about the thematic pivots between each act, but this one is probably the most severe of them because there's no easing into Act 3 like there is into the Shadow Curse lands with the Underdark. Did you guys feel like that was okay? Because I remember feeling very distinctly like, you know, that meme of the guy that's like inside looking at his computer and he closes the curtains when the sun is shining through. That's how I felt when I got to Act 3 the first time. Like, oh my god, it's so fucking bright.
I think for me it was more I didn't like the Act 1 to Act 2, so Act 2 to Act 3 I was like, okay, we're back in a cool place.
I think Act 2 to Act 3 actually does a really good job of easing you in because a bunch of reasons actually. So, first of all, as soon as you leave Act 2, it's not like you're in Rivington. You're in that like little interstitial campsite, I forget the name of it. And that's where it kind of lore dumps you on some Githyanki shit. You go talk to the Emperor. And then from there is when you go into Rivington and you see all the refugees and you're kind of getting the sense that like there's a bunch of people and they're all running from this army. And by the time you get into Baldur's Gate 3, I feel like you're kind of eased into the idea of like being in this super populated city space.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think if it didn't have that little campsite, like if you went straight into Rivington from Act 2, that would have been a mistake for sure.
Yeah, like it isn't just, you know, you blink and suddenly you're in fucking daytime in the middle of the city. It does do that. That's true.
I think I would like that better. If you just come up from a sewer hole and then suddenly you're just the city's just muscling and bustling around you, I think that'd be fucking awesome.
I mean, I do feel like that scene that Thomas is describing. Do you guys feel like it's a little out of place? Like it's important for the Act 3 transition for sure, but like it feels like it kind of comes out of nowhere. Do you guys feel similarly?
Like you mean the Githyanki showing up to fight the Emperor scene?
Yeah.
It did feel weird when it was happening. I was like, what the fuck's going on?
I mean,
But
in
I
my
think-
opinion, everything with the Dream Visitor / Emperor is abrupt and cringe. So,
Yeah, agreed. Including when he has his shirt off and sit next to you.
oh, you can
Wait, tell
fuck him.
me.
Oh, I know. And he
Oh
got
yeah, that's what I
rejected.
did.
Wait, tell me a little bit more about like everything with the Emperor feeling abrupt, because I mean that's definitely true for the reveal that he's Baldurin. That kind of comes out of fucking nowhere. But I feel like everything else, like if I just took his backstory at face value, like being an adventurer, he got stuck in the astral prism after becoming an illithid. I feel like most of that works.
I think in a vacuum, I actually do like the idea of him being Balduron. The execution leaves a little bit to be desired, but I think the idea is good. But I don't know. I feel like it's kind of a similar idea with the villains in the game, where I just don't feel like you spend enough time with them because, like, think about it, right? Like a playthrough of this game is going to be like somewhere in the realm of like 60 to 100 hours, depending on how many roses you smell, right? And of a percentage of that, it's like less than 30 that's really spent in any kind of scenes with the Emperor or the villains or like just the critical path in general. Like, it's such a small fraction of your overall experience with the game because you're going to spend so much time doing side quests, like going around talking to people, trying to work through romances, doing your companion quests, and like there's just not enough there's just not enough deference to stuff like the Emperor and the villains. And yeah, like I said, there's just not enough time spent, and maybe that's a good thing because I mean this game's already huge. So
I guess it's kind of rough because it's like one of I don't know if this is necessarily like the best way to do it, like in terms of video game writing, but having the side quests kind of like have connections back to the main story helps. And in this game, they didn't really, except for the fact that depending on the outcomes of those like companion quests, you get like a helper at the in like the final battle. But it's kind of like a contrived, like, okay, one of your companions now has an army under their control and they'll help you, or someone else has an army and they'll help you, which I guess is technically connected to the main story. But I also thought that the whole like Mass Effect 2 like collect all the helpers for the final battle thing was kind of lame a little bit. I don't really have a reason for it, but it's just I didn't like it in Mass Effect 2 and I didn't like it here either. I never really thought about why. I have like this general distaste for that kind of
Do you like it in Final
storytelling.
Fantasy IV when you're fighting the final boss and they'll show up and they go, "You could do it."
I If I played Final Fantasy IV, it was back when I was like 10 years old, so I don't even remember.
Because I don't like it in
So-
this game because like they can die permanently or whatever. And that would make you feel like a fucking moron. So I just didn't summon them.
so
Yeah, I feel
here's
like
the reason. Here's the reason I don't like it. It's because the worst part of the combat is anytime there's a fuckload of people in the combat, and all that does is add shit to the combat.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I never well, I did some of them just to see what they did, but it's almost always like a net negative because like using one of your like green actions to some of them is almost always worse than your tavern brawler just fucking killing
Mhm.
someone.
Yeah, like spending your entire action to summon the Night Song that does like 10 radiant damage every turn. I don't know about that investment.
Oh, and that's the worst. Night Song specifically, she never heals from the battle in
Yeah.
Act 2. So if she ever gets hit, she comes in. Does she never think about like taking a nap or something? Like, what the fuck is wrong with her?
Isn't
Yeah, I
she
mean,
also
the-
immortal?
Yeah, I think she
No, she's
can't
an
actually
Azamar,
die,
right?
but
Why can't she die? She's an Azamar, right? Is that what she is? I forget.
I thought
she's
she was
an
immortal.
Asimar, but I think she's like fucking first generation daughter of Saluna, so she's probably a bit stronger than that.
I have a quick question about the companion things in the final act before we move on. So obviously as Dirge, I didn't really make a whole lot of friends along the way, one might say. But one person who did show up was Saravok. But I did not see any way to summon anything related to Saravok or Ballspawn or like anything. What the hell does he actually do?
So So I didn't have Saravak alive because I went back to him after killing Orin, and he tried to take my place, which didn't happen. So he became a corpse. But if I assume it's probably the same helper you get from when you become an unholy assassin, whereas you just get to summon the unholy assassins,
Yeah.
and they're not very useful.
Yeah, I think the Unholy Assassin one is just that. You don't get anything bonus for like actually being fully evil max Dirge and having Saravak alive and everything.
Huh, that's weird. Also, I forgot to go back to Saravak, and you just reminded me of that. Oh well.
Yeah, like I went back because I thought he was gonna like give me a reward, but no, he was just like, you took out one of my rivals, and I'm gonna take you out. And I was like, no,
Yeah.
you're not.
Classic ball spawn shit.
I mean, the one thing I'll say with that final encounter is that, yeah, even though a lot of the options are like pretty fucking weak, number one, I'm pretty flabbergasted by the sheer amount of them that there are. I can count them up real quick, but there's a lot more than at least Jordan, you probably think. But at least when it comes to like using the action to summon the dudes, I still appreciate that there are like passive ones that you get that are actually like pretty strong, you know?
Wait, which ones are those, or what's an example of some?
If you kept Arabella alive all the way to the end and you did all of her questy stuff, then I think everyone gets freedom of movement.
Oh, that does sound dope. And that's, you don't have to use an action, right? That's just like you said, a passive.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that one specifically, but I know there's a bunch that are passives, and that might be one of them.
Yeah, this playthrough I experimented with one. I used like, and this was funny. So I did an evil dirge where basically I sided with the Emperor and I killed the fuck out of Orpheus. I come out into like that final battle area and Voss confronts me, and then I just roll the dice and he's like, "Oh, I don't care that you killed Orpheus. You must have had a good reason." So he lent me his aid. So I summoned the red dragon, and it did like nothing but leave a fire puddle on the ground that basically reminded me of Divinity Original Sin 2, because all it did was just hurt me every time I walked over it. And when you got hurt by it, it was like super fire, so your turn ended. It was annoying.
Oh,
Basically, it was just a net negative to use it.
oh, the big one is actually Halcyon. If you do everything with him in Act 2, then you get +1 to all your ability scores and +2 movement speed.
That does sound pretty good. Unfortunately, Halcyon did not join my party this time around.
Did you murderize Ethel too? Because she's a gather your allies quest too.
I did not. I left her alone because I had no role-playing reason to go kill her. Same thing with Raphael. I didn't do the House of Hope at all because I had no role-playing reason to go there this playthrough, so I just didn't.
I did, because I wanted to break my contract, although I was very, very curious about how the game would end if I tried to not give him the Crown of Karsus, but also I did not think that would go well for me.
Did you do House of Hope, Jordan?
No.
Oh,
Basically
what?
for, like,
That's like a
RPG.
highlight of the game. That's like the best part of the game, IMO.
Yeah, I mean the game. I felt like I was like, okay, I'm not gonna fuck with the Emperor, and I didn't want the fucking hammer or whatever the fuck it is to break out Orpheus, so I was just like, eh. Also, I didn't know how to get into it because I thought you just had to. I thought you just did the deal with Raphael, or you didn't. It wasn't until I beat the game where I was like, oh, you can like break into the fucking House of Hope.
Yeah, you have to like go find Hellsick or whatever. And this is like another point to like doing Dirge where like all these characters who seem kind of like random and out of nowhere in a TAV playthrough like just have more backstory. So like Hellsick was actually involved with Dirge and Gortash and all of them like doing the original heist of getting the Crown of Karsus, and that's how you like get back into the House of Hope, is that she basically helped you out again like she did when she helped you get the crown in the first place. So like you go there and she like tells you about a ritual. You have to like do a literal ritual where there's a pentagram on the
Yeah.
ground. You need to place certain items on the ground, and that's how you get to the House of Hope.
Yeah, like I went in it to like investigate it, and then like I found that pentagram and everything, and then like I was like, oh well, guess there's nothing to do here, and then just left. Like needed
Yeah,
to make
it's
the
like
deal with
a-
Raphael.
Yeah, it's a really cool dungeon because you get in there and it's almost like it's basically a heist, right? Like a fucking heist in hell. So you're like dressed as servants of the House of Hope, And if at any point you like break the dress or you start combat accidentally, it will summon Raphael and like cue everything and make everything hostile. But like the intended thing is that all of that happens once you take the Orphic hammer. But then there's also a lot of other cool stuff in there. Like if you take the deal with Raphael and you get the hammer, you don't have a reason to go to the House of Hope anymore, right? Wrong, because you can go there and tear your contract in half. And if you go there, then you find out that Mole also had a contract, and you can give Mole the contract that they signed with Raphael. So that's like a whole other element. You know, you go in fucking Raphael's boudoir, and there's Incubus that he's been fucking, who takes on his form because Raphael is a fucking narcissist, so he just fucks himself every night. That's great. It's got some great loot. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, this shit has the best loot in the game. There's so much cool shit in there.
Also appreciate the infinite long rest fountain.
Yeah, very true. I also really like the character Hope. I think the character Hope is awesome.
Yeah, I really like how, like, her... I don't know if it's necessarily how her lines are delivered or how they're written, but the combination of it is very good.
Yeah, she is a really good voice actress, and I think she is really well written because she has this like weird like schizophrenic dichotomy between like, oh my god, we're all gonna die, but also, you know, things are gonna be all right. So the like frenetic way she bounces between it makes her a super fun character.
Yeah, I think she's one of those ones where, like, if I ever find a way to insert that character into a tabletop setting, I'm going to do it. Maybe not that character specifically, but that kind of archetype where that's how she's talking, because that kind of character just feels like it's straight out of D&D, and I fucking love it.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, I have a question actually. I meant to do this on this playthrough and I forgot. But if you just knock out her sister in the Raphael combat, is there any like reactivity to that if you like keep her alive? There's got to be, but I accidentally one-shot her without turning on lethal attacks.
I think so. I feel like I remember reading about this because the easiest way to do it is by banishing her. I'm going to Google search while you guys talk about that.
Yeah, I think House of Hope and Wormway are the two best dungeons in this whole game, and honestly are, in my eyes, what make Act 3 like just 25-ish hours of perfect video game. Like, there is not a single thing about Act 3 that I would change. There's things about Act 1 and 2 I would change, including the build up to Act 3. But Act 3 itself, mwah, absolute perfection.
I looked it up. If Karilla survives, then it's not a lot of reactivity, but Hope does acknowledge that she's happy that you kept her sister alive. Also, did you guys know that you can encounter Karilla in Act 1?
Yeah, I did. Or Act 2.
Act 1.
2 I did. I did not know about Act 1. Where is she?
Like
in
Act 2,
1?
you're thinking about how she just like randomly pops in and is like watching you, right? That's what you're thinking of?
Yeah, when you first enter Wraithwin, and I only noticed that this playthrough was the first time I ever saw her there. I knew that there was I knew that someone was like watching me behind a wall, but I never looked to see who it was. But this time I walked in with sneak mode specifically so I could see that person, and I saw it was her. I was like, huh, there she is.
That's funny. Yeah, if you in Act 1, when you go to the Goblin Camp and you talk to Gut, the priestess, like the very first one of the 3 that you have to kill, if you talk to her...
Oh, yeah, I did see her. You're right. I saw her this way.
Yeah, like if you actually take her up on it and you drank the potion that's going to quote unquote cure you, then it actually just like knocks you out, and Gut ties you up in her jail cell, and you're just like straight up stuck there. You can't do anything. But Karilla comes into your jail cell and is like, I'm going to get you out of here. Basically, like being sent by Raphael because he sees you as a potential asset. And then that's how you're introduced to Raphael, which I think is so fucking cool. It's just one of those things where it's like, wow, they have so many different layers for how you can do shit in this game. And that's just another really cool one.
Yeah, that's awesome. I didn't even know about that one.
But yeah, like what you were saying, Thomas, about Act 3 being 25 hours of pure video gaming. What were some of your guys' favorite or least favorite things about the gameplay of Act 3?
I don't know if I have a least favorite.
So my favorite thing is definitely just getting the leveled up lithid powers, specifically just flight. That's the only one I really care about, and it just makes going through the game so much more fun. It feels like you can there were like certain points in the game where I remember when we tashed System Shock 1, and I remember I was doing platforming with like the rocket boots, and I would get to certain places. I would be like, this is definitely not what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to like do something else to get here. And I felt like being able to fly in Baldur's Gate 3 was like the same thing, where there were so many things that like I could do and so many different places I could go to that I shouldn't be able to, that felt like I was sequence breaking, and that was pretty fun. The thing that I disliked, hmm, let's see, I'd have to think about it.
Actually, I think my least favorite part is actually probably Rivington, because I kind of forgot that that's a part of Act 3, to be honest with you. I feel like it's kind of a weak intro. I feel like they should have just, well, I mean, I guess, I don't know how to wrap my head around this because I was literally just thinking it as I was sitting here, but I feel like there would have been a better way to introduce Act 3 if you cut out Rivington and the kind of nonsensical, useless, doesn't go anywhere refugee side quest project and just made it into Southern Worms Rock, I think it's called, and the circus. And I think if you cut everything else out of the intro of Act 3, I think it would have played a little better. I just think Rivington's kind of weak. It's the weak link of Act 3, but which is not saying much because it's still good. It's just probably the weakest part, in my opinion.
And you saying that just reminded me about how you were talking about the fireworks quest and how there wasn't that much evil reactivity. And I think that's also, there were like certain points of the game that I was disappointed by. Like for instance, when I was doing the Orin thingy, and she was like, "You better do what I say, or I'm gonna kill Yenna," and I was like, "Fucking do it." So she did, and then in the cutscene, my character was like revolted. She was like disgusted. I was like, "What are you doing? This is like this is what I
Yeah.
want. What are you?" So like the fact that they didn't like reflect that accurately was kind of disappointing. But it
Yeah,
is
I
what
but
it
that's
is.
when that's when Larian Studios has given you a prompt and you have to justify why is my character acting like this in this way, and the only way it could be is you butchered that killing. It could have been so much better.
Yeah, that would have been nice. But the facial expression that they used was too specific for that. It wasn't ambiguous enough.
How did you feel about Rivington, Jordan?
It all kind of like I don't know. Actually, like I thought Rivington is where the circus was. So until Tom said the circus, I was like, "Is that not where what
It
was in
is.
Rivington?" Oh, okay, yeah,
It
no, I
is.
thought it was fine. I like Rivington. That was cool.
I like the circus. I don't like Rivington.
Yeah, I was gonna say I do feel like the circus is the only good part about Rivington.
What even
Yep.
else is in Rivington?
They got all the refugees. They got the toy maker
Gur?
guy. Yeah.
There's the stuff with the guild down by the beach.
Oh, I forgot to do that part in this playthrough. And like, there's like that one dude that always says "cuck" in every line. Is that where that is?
I never interacted with that guy. That sounds awesome though.
And then
Yeah, he's on the beach, and he literally just finds a way to fit in the word "cuck" in every single line that
That's
he
really good.
says.
and then the only other stuff there is like the monk temple and the post office quest, which are just like kind of meh.
Yeah, there's also the Gur if you're doing the Astarion quest line. And this was the first time where I just straight up killed them there, because like I knew that in my other playthroughs, if I didn't kill them there and I did like anything with Astarion, they were going to come attack me anyway. So I was like, I'm just going to nip this in the bud in Rivington and just kill them in broad daylight.
For the record, I am considering. I think it's Worms Rock, separate from Rivington, because like there's 2 checkpoints in that spot, right? There's one to get into Worms Rock, and there's one to get into Baldur's Gate.
Mm-hmm.
And the one after you get through Rivington, that part's really good. I love that part of the game.
Just to make it clear, I think you're talking about Worms Crossing. Worms Rock is
the
like
fortress
after you cross the big bridge. Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're right. I couldn't remember. I knew it was Worms something, but yeah.
Yeah, like Worms Crossing has like it has the bedroom where the lady turns into a mind flayer and you have to kill it. I mean everything in the brothel period. Stuff with Wolbrin is there and the other deep gnomes if you left them alive. I always think fondly of Worms Crossing, but I think I am kind of in the camp with you guys where Rivington, other than the circus, is kind of just boring. Like
Yeah.
what's the most narratively that happens there? Orin shows up and trolls you. Like
I
that's about it.
like. I think the point is to like set the stage for all of these like refugees and kind of drive home the drama of what's going on. But then after Rivington, there's no more drama, so it all just kind of falls flat.
Jordan, you liked the Orin appearances?
I wish like half the NPCs were her. I wish it was literally like you go to pet a cat and it was Orin. Like I wish it was just like a super comedy bit of like I wanted her to be everywhere. Every NPC I talked to, I was like, please be Orin, please be Orin. And I only got like 2 of them. I don't know how many there are, but I was like, fuck.
There's a lot.
I can think of 4 off the top of my head. There's the blacksmith, which is a pretty obvious one. There's the dryad in the circus. I think that one's kind of dumb because that one really comes out of nowhere. There's like a injured dude on the beaches that she can be. And
I like
what was
the
fourth one?
reporter.
It's like
the
the
reporter's
news-
Yeah, the
super
news
good.
reporter. Yep,
There's
yep,
like
yep.
yeah, and the thing is, like, in every playthrough is different. Like, she's not gonna always be those 4. She'll just be like 1 or 2 of them.
Yeah, I wish she was like 20 things. I wish like you went to open a door and it was Orin. Like I wish it was shit like that.
It's weird how few mimics this game has. I think there's like 1 or 2, but there should be more mimics.
All right, so I kind of lambasted my least favorite part of Act 3, but the best part of Act 3, honestly, I mean, it's hard to pick, but I'm going to go ahead and say it's the triumvirate of optional dungeons, which I am defining as House of Hope, Loroakin's Tower, and the other one I was just talking about, Wormway. Those 3 dungeons are like legit some of the best dungeoneering in any video game ever. It was actually a lot of fun like when I first played the game because I was like super far ahead of the curve. Like I think I told you guys before, I literally wrote the original wiki article for the House of Hope. And so having to like figure all of that shit out like in the Wormway, in House of Hope, in Loroakin's Tower especially, I think is a really cool dungeon, like a little puzzle dungeon. I fucking love all of them. I think they're all 10 out of 10.
I think I agree with that assessment, but replacing Loroakin's Tower with Cazador's Mansion.
I was considering the companion stuff separate, but yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think that is accurate. All of those dungeons are really, really good. Like especially Wormway. It's one of those ones where you get to it and you're like, "There's no way there's more to this fucking game," and there's an entire goddamn dungeon down there.
Yeah, there's a fucking level 16 dragon waiting for you.
A fucking Draco Lich.
Who just so happened to be Balduran's former lover. It's fucking crazy.
The Emperor really enjoyed riding that dragon, if you know what I mean.
What do you mean?
Gay sex.
Ooh.
Well, regardless of some of our opinions on the Emperor, I do kind of want to discuss, like, there's a lot of different interpretations of that character, and I'm just curious if you guys kind of fall in the same camp as I do with it, where, like, he's clearly, like, an ends justify the means kind of guy. But this motherfucker is lying to you at every single fucking turn possible. Like, he could have told you a little bit more early in the game, and it would have been fine. But, like, throughout the entire game, he's lying to you to basically justify his own ends. And there's all this fucked up shit in his backstory that we can go into that he did along those lines. But, like, what are your guys' vibes on the Emperor?
Fuck that guy. I was such a huge simp for him in my first playthrough. I fucking ran defense for that guy. No, he's a piece of shit. And in this playthrough, I never trusted him for a single second. And then I was like, nah, I'm breaking this Orpheus guy out. And his immediate reaction is, all right, well, I guess I'm going to go join the Absolute now. So yeah, that guy can eat shit as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I don't like that he's painted in such like a positive light in the game even because I wish I just fucking dunked on him the whole time.
I don't mind that he's painted in a positive light because it's the mind flayer thing, right? Like they're manipulative. They're fucking with you. They're just trying to like get their like best outcome from the situation. So I think the fact that he is kind of like confusingly good, like I don't know. I guess it's I can't wrap my head around it, but I think he's portrayed very well actually, in terms of like how he's a manipulative son of a bitch.
I think that for me, I wish like your companions would chime in more and been like, we shouldn't trust this guy or anything, because like I don't know, the game just kind of felt like that. This guy was supposed to be like someone that you should be helping, except the quest descriptions for the House of Hope shit. That's like the first time that I felt like the game was like, yo, you should betray the Emperor.
I feel like you can interrogate your party members about them. Like you can. There's so many dialogue options with them for like, what do you think of these tadpoles? Do you think we should use this mega tadpole?
Yeah. And they
Yeah,
don't
but,
like
like,
it, but then
that's-
they don't talk about the Emperor.
Yeah, I mean that's always like surrounding whether or not to activate the powers of the tadpole. I think Jordan's right in that they don't really offer their opinion much on the Emperor, which I do think would be appropriate. Like, wouldn't it be interesting to see how Gale relates his experiences
Yeah.
with Mistra, with your relationship with the Emperor, or Shadowheart, literally trickery domain? Maybe she has some shit to say, especially since she had the astral prism. Yeah, I think that's a good point for sure.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm not going to run defense for the Emperor because I think as a character, they didn't do a good job writing him. No, that's the opposite of what I mean. I think they did a good job of writing him, but they did not do a good job of interweaving him into the story, which I guess kind of plays into what you guys are saying.
Exactly, yeah. He's not a
Yeah.
bad character, but yeah, he's not a good like function. And I think it's weird that like your party members don't have opinions of him really, but they have opinions of like tadpoles, like Seth mentioned.
I guess I kind of consider their opinion of the tadpoles to be an extension of their opinions of him, since like his whole thing is use the fucking tadpoles. I'm giving you these. Use these fucking things.
I think the Emperor is just like a cool idea. Like if you read what the Emperor is like in a wiki article, you'd be like, that's a really novel way to like have like a kind of like a pseudo villain. But I think you're right in that like because like I've done so many playthroughs, I just look forward to just fucking betraying him in the end every time. It's just I go into Act 3 every single time being like,
Yeah,
yeah, I'm gonna stab this
exactly.
guy.
I do
Yeah.
think it's a mistake to have them have you create a character for him in the beginning of the game. I think that was a stupid idea. I think they should have just had it be some like fucking pre-built thing.
Have you create a character for him?
Yeah, you create a model for the Dream Visitor.
I created that?
Yeah.
I don't remember that at all.
Same thing that happened to Day 9.
Yeah. Day 9 clicked random, got some ridiculous ass thing, and comedy ensued.
Oh, that's funny. I just had some like normal looking chick.
Yeah, so
like any
that's
other NPC.
that's
Yeah,
the
exactly.
that's the amount of punch that having you create another character has, is that most people forget they even
Yep.
did it.
I don't remember that at all.
Yeah, and I don't know about you guys, but every time that I've like booted up another playthrough, I either don't give a shit about what my Dream Guardian looks like, other than not having some of the options that they put in the game, or I just can never get it to look like what I want because there are fewer options than there are for building your actual character. But no, yeah, like if anything, even though I think it's really well hidden, I think that the Emperor might be almost like too able to be agreed upon that he's a bad dude, if that makes sense. Like, you find out what he did to Stelmane, and you're like, oh, okay, so he is actually just evil. Like, there's no question anymore. Or like Withers straight up answering the question about, I think it's Withers that says this, where he says that illithids actually don't have souls. He just straight up fucking answers the question, and then that removes a lot of the ambiguity surrounding like Karlach's ending, or like whether Baldurin has any memories of his past life now that he's an illithid. Yeah, I feel like it just gets a little bit messy once you start incorporating that stuff.
Yeah, but at the same time, I feel like that stuff is like off to the side and obfuscated enough that if their goal was to set out and create an ambiguous villain where even by the time the credits roll, you're not 100% sure whether or not they were a good guy, and those gaps can only be filled in by information that is like, I guess, not super. It's not in front of your face. Like you'd have to go out of your way to find it. I think that they did a good job of that.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're correct in what you're saying. I'm just saying that, like, once you actually know everything, it's a little bit unambiguous. For like a corollary example to the opposite, someone like Verso, like, you find out that he's been lying to you, is continuing to lie to you, and he's kind of been a son of a bitch for the entire game. But by the time the credits roll, there's still kind of a question whether or not what he did was justified. But that doesn't feel true for the Emperor. He has, and he's not like a main villain, so I'm not going to expect the level of complexity as someone like Verso. But yeah, I don't know. Even though I like the scene where he gives Stelmane a fucking aneurysm, it feels a little bit too on the nose, I guess, is another way of saying what I'm saying.
I've got a question because, like, you know how in the endings, like, if you choose the Emperor, he acts as like your mind flayer. So, what happens if you don't stab him and you, like, quote unquote side with him? I assume it's bad for you, but I've just never been curious to look it up because I've never considered doing it. But like, I was thinking about like how to make him likable, like to the point where you would fully side with him, and I'm pretty sure just my gut feelings that he probably betrays
Wait,
you, right?
if you do what?
At the very end when you choose him as like your mind flayer for the final battle, and you have him cast like the level 9 Karsus spell to control the crown, and you have the choice of stabbing him or not stabbing him. What happens if you let him continue? Because I've never done it. I don't even know what
You're
happens.
talking like the very end scenes when you're on the docks?
Yeah.
No, he's
before the yeah.
If it's where I'm thinking, no, he's chill. He just goes away. That's like pretty
Really?
much the end. Yeah, he says like a couple lines, like, I'm glad that we were able to have a fruitful relationship together, and then he just fucks off, if I'm thinking the same thing.
Oh wow. I mean, it has to be because it sounds like he did the job and then you're cordial with him, so he doesn't backstab you.
So is he
Yeah,
really
I
a
mean-
bad guy then? I mean, yeah, he treated people like shit, but within the confines of this story, is he a bad guy?
He's not a villain, but he's a bad guy.
Yeah, I mean, I think just like consistently lying to you throughout the entire game about everything, and again, the thing with Stelmane is what tips it over the edge for me.
Yeah, but again, I'm throwing all the Stelmane and all the other shit out because I'm saying within the context of Baldur's Gate 3 and the events of the War of the Absolute, it sounds like all he's doing is acting in the best interest of the people of Faerun.
Well, I guess the question would be whether or not you think that Orpheus is a better way to solve that than keeping him imprisoned, right? Because I mean, the Emperor is obviously biased. He wants to live. That's like his entire fucking thing. He just escaped a mind flayer. He's an adventurer, and he wants to live. Or not a mind flayer, but an Elderbrain thrall. And the only reason he doesn't want to give up Orpheus is because he knows that Orpheus would kill him as soon as he did that. And Orpheus is also, protecting his mental. I feel like if the only goal was to stop the Elderbrain, freeing Orpheus is probably the play.
Yeah, that's true. That is definitely true.
If you free Orpheus, does he always kill the Emperor?
I believe in every permutation where you free Orpheus, the Emperor immediately fucks off and just is absorbed. Like he goes back to the Elderbrain's thrall.
Yeah, he's in the last encounter with the Crown of Karsus with the Red Dragon. He shows up there.
Oh, so then you kill him there, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like
he's just choosing like the quote unquote winning team in his opinion. That's all he does.
Yeah, because again, that's the Emperor's whole MO. Dude just wants to live, and even living under an Elderbrain thrall is apparently better than being killed by Orpheus.
Yeah, because like I said, like the reason I ran so much defense for him the first time was I couldn't I knew he was manipulative and I knew he was kind of a piece of shit, but like I was saying before, he was operating in my best interest. But in this playthrough, as soon as I freed Orpheus, he literally just goes, I'm gonna go join the Absolute now, and just disappears. It's like, oh, okay. This guy sucks.
I feel like at this point we've actually gotten through a lot of our discussion topics. We have a couple other things here and there, but do you guys have any big things that you want to get up?
I don't know what you guys like about the gameplay.
What do you mean?
Like the combat specifically. Like what are highlights of the combat for you guys?
I think that
The variety and the freedom to do like so many things in like an immersive sim kind of way.
Yeah, I mean, that's it.
And on top of that, and also like there's like a whole separate from that, there's like a whole like metagaming thing that you can get pretty deep into with like all the different multi-classes you can do.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, I think the beauty of this game is that it's just Minecraft with Dungeons and Dragons stapled on top of it. Like, the game is just a playground where you can do anything, and just the number of possible permutations of how you can approach combat and what you can do inside of that combat, just, I mean, this game amazes me every time I play it.
Yeah, and I mean, if you want my just like straightforward and honest answer, with the disclaimer that I have not played, I think Solasta, which is like the only other digital 5e game that is halfway decent. Baldur's Gate 3 is the only way to play a good version of digital 5e. That just doesn't really exist anywhere else, and it's also like one of the only ways to play it solo if you're not playing tabletop and such. So like when I started playing the game, I just played it a shitload because I just wanted to play a lot of 5e. I enjoy tabletop for other reasons I can get into, but Baldur's Gate 3 does a really good job of replicating it. A lot of build variety, a lot of unique items. They remove a lot of the restrictions from 5e that I don't like, and they just made it a roaring good time. If you want like the one thing that I enjoy in tabletop that is similar in Baldur's Gate 3, I just like rolling a bunch of dice. You know, you upcast Fireball to like 7th level and you're rolling like 12d6. That's a lot of fun to just throw all those dice out there and do a bunch of damage. And it's kind of similar in Baldur's Gate 3, where you know you don't have that physical action of throwing the dice, which is a lot of the fun there, but you do get a fuck ton of numbers popping up on your screen and all the little dice sound effects when you cast Fireball on like 10 targets. And I guess to maybe answer more succinctly, I just like those really visceral feelings, like that one that I described, hitting a big AoE effect on top of like Thomas was describing in the channel earlier, of hitting a natural crit or a natural 20 crit, especially with like a divine smite. Like all of that just feels great.
Yeah, the crits on Divine Smite are like the best thing ever. Between the visual and the sound effect, it's just like you feel like you just brought down the fucking wrath of God on somebody.
And another thing about the combat that I like is actually, even though I criticized it before, is the Elith and maxing, because I really do think it's super fun to just be able to, like, especially in the city of Baldur's Gate, it's an urban environment, there's so many rooftops, and you can just fly on top of the rooftops and just snipe enemies and they can't do anything to you, and it just feels like very, very satisfying to just be that overpowering just because you can just fly around and shoot lasers and shit. I think that's, and a lot of that has to do with like the environmental design as well. Like they're just fun playgrounds to just cause devastation. And
Yeah, and I think I gained a new perspective on this as well, from playing honor mode rules for the first time, because like I think without, as someone like very familiar with 5e and Dungeons and Dragons in general, I didn't have those like barriers of entry that other people had. And so like the first time I played this game, I played it on Tactician and it just felt so easy. Like I didn't consider that a bad thing. But that gets turned on its fucking head in honor mode, because there is some fucked up shit. And having that additional challenge, in spite of the fact that I was using a bunch of overpowered builds, added a degree of excitement to the combat that made me appreciate it even more the fucking third time around.
Yeah, I was I was definitely going to bring up honor mode because I think one of the main things that I enjoy on repeat playthroughs is like, what do you do when you do another playthrough? It's probably because you either want to do a good or evil run, like one you didn't do before. You probably want to play with some new classes, and that element of like, okay, I know that Ethel is going to be a pain in the ass, and honor mode gives her this like really annoying ability where she just hard counters what you would do in a normal playthrough, because when you cast a spell she makes more clones of herself, so you can't magic missile all of them. And being able to go into that, and kind of like Ben was saying with the immersive sim quality of just figuring it out like it's a puzzle and being prepared for it, and like especially if you're not following a guide for honor mode, that shit is really engaging, just making sure you're prepared at all times. I think honor mode is amazing even when it gets a little bit sloggy in terms of its difficulty.
Yeah, dude. Like, this was the first playthrough where I did Cazador's dungeon, which is crazy. I know, but uh, I wasn't familiar with the Cazador fight. I'd only ever seen like a picture of the arena, but I didn't know how the actual fight worked. And so the first time I went in there, I did it like you're meant to, like standing on the 7 ritual things and like killing the guys kind of slowly as you whittle it down. That fight is so fucking hard. And so after I was done, I was like, all right, like that fight was really tough. It took me a few tries, and now I'm gonna ascend Astarion. And I'm stupid, and I was like thinking that killing all 7 dudes was gonna allow me to ascend Astarion. And so as soon as I couldn't get like any dialogue option to do it, I was like, wait, what did I do? How did I fuck up? And I was like, oh wait, I'm fucking dumb. And so then I went back and I tried doing the Ascended fight or the Cazador fight again without killing any of the 7 dudes, and that is the hardest fight in the fucking game. I was thinking that Raphael was going to be really hard. I was thinking that Ansur was going to be pretty hard. No, dude. Fucking 7 vampire Cazador is the most ridiculous fight in that whole game. And it's a lot of that has to do with honor mode, with that fucked up aura that he has, where you cannot you can't get up to him without taking like 70 damage, and the fucking aura takes up like half of the arena. And so having that be an entirely new experience that I had never had in a game that up to that point I had probably around 160 hours in, and there was still a combat that like really stretched my brain for how in the fuck can I do this? I mean, I don't see how you can't like the combat in this game.
I actually can, because in this playthrough I do have like lots of positive feelings about the honor mode rule set, but I found myself being pretty frustrated with the tactician part of it, not because of the difficulty, but because and this is definitely like a self-inflicted problem, but like I save scummed a lot. So for this playthrough, I think near the beginning of Act 3, I actually just switched it to explore with the honor mode rule set, and I thought that was way more fun than doing tactician
Oh
with
shit, I
honor
didn't even know
mode.
I
you
did
could
the
do
same.
that.
It was just so it this, and I think Jordan mentioned this like back in the previous tashes of Baldur's Gate 3, but like missing attacks is just
Mhm.
such a feel bad, and it's one of the main problems with doing like a tabletop adaptation of into a video game is when you have dice, you're gonna miss more often than like a Final Fantasy, where pretty much the only way you can miss is if you get like the blind status effect. You know what I mean?
No,
Yeah.
I mean, I agree completely. I think for me, like, so I don't have like a sandbox imagination mindset, so like that part is completely lost on me. So then when you go past that, it's just like if you miss, and if you miss, like, so every fight that has more than like 10 enemies in it, it feels like an absolute fucking nightmare. Like I just look at the top bar and it's just like I don't. It's 45 minutes of I don't want to do this. Because like if I was playing Final Fantasy 7 and like random encounter happened and then there was just a sea of fucking Sahagins, I would turn the game off. I would go play something else. So like this game, every time I get into combat like that, it was just like God fucking damn it. And then you get stuck here and like it's like 70% hit chance, miss, and then you get crit by the enemy twice in a row, and you're like, this sucks ass.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, for me, I don't mind that stuff because, like, to me, this game is just XCOM with Minecraft on top of it, and to me that is like, I don't know, incredible, I guess.
Yeah, like I guess the question I have is like this is obviously this isn't the only game where there's like potential for high rates of failure, right? And just keep in mind as I'm asking you this, I'm someone who loves Darkest Dungeons, so I'm a bit more inclined towards that level of RNG than others, perhaps. But like what is it exactly about that feeling of missing that feels bad? Because like in theory, your enemies have as much chance of it as you do, but why does it sound? It sounds like it feels particularly bad in this game compared to other games you've played.
I think it's because of how many enemies are in the combat. Like when you think of it as like a 5-to-1 turn ratio of like, okay, I have 40 party members and I'm against 20 dudes. That means that if I miss, there's 5 actions that are happening that didn't happen because I missed. Whereas if one of them misses, they still took 4 actions. In Darkest Dungeon, if there was 20 enemies, that game would be awful if it felt like you missed. Because there's 3, it kind of feels a little more fair because they can miss because you're on like even playing field. But I think like being outnumbered is why it feels shitty.
It's kind of funny because that's actually like as a DM and tabletop that you really have to keep in mind too. Like that's one of the things with the action economy is not only is more enemies on the opposing side going to make the encounter exponentially harder, you as the DM also have to manage all of those instead of having something digital that follows all of it for you. So maybe your players are playing a fighter and a warlock where their turn is just I hit it and I cast Eldritch Blast and it takes less than 5 minutes. And then it gets to your turn and you're like, oh, I put 30 enemies in this encounter. Hold on, let me just roll all of their dice at the same time and then move all of them on this battle map. And it takes like fucking half an hour to take one turn. So it's kind of interesting hearing what I know is a critique or something you have to keep in mind, and tabletop also applied here. What were you going to say, Thomas?
Like I think I mentioned earlier that like big combats in this game are the most annoying thing by far, which is what makes me think kind of. I don't really think too fondly on the final encounter because it's just a big, long, stupid combat. But in hearing Jordan's criticism, I'm going to go ahead and assume that Jordan did not do the Viconia fight because I think if he did, he would rate this game like a 3 out of 10. That fight is nothing but a shitload of enemies who are all casting fog and blinding you.
And they all have 100 health at least.
I don't think I did.
I know you
House of
didn't.
Hope with not House of Hope, House of Grief
House
with
of
Shadowheart.
Grief. Yeah,
I don't even know. Oh no, I did that. Yeah, I did that.
Oh
That fight
yeah,
wasn't
because
that
you.
bad.
Oh yeah, because you did Shadowheart's quest. That's
Yeah,
right.
that one wasn't that bad.
What the hell? That would be like the worst for what you're describing. That combat's huge.
I think it's just because I was on Explorer, like, and there isn't really a big challenge on Explorer, and I went to Explorer because the shit was annoying. So because I could fucking basically just like one shot the problem, basically just like kill. Is it Viconia, like the main bitch? Like kill her
Yeah.
basically. She gets a turn, and then I kill her, and then I kill like the other 2 big guards, and then it's just dudes casting the darkness things to no avail. So that combat wasn't that bad.
Yeah, so to be fair, tactician is pretty much the same thing. You one shot her, but you might have to like reload a
Because you
couple times
missed.
because you missed.
Man,
I mean, also
that fight with Evil Shadowheart is awesome because like 3/4 of the people in that room just join you and end up fucking up Viconia.
Oh, that's cool.
and that shit is the fucking worst. I think only on honor mode is where they get Radiant Retort. So your
Yeah.
Spirit Guardians doesn't work, your Radiance of Dawn doesn't work, none of that shit. You got to do it fucking natty.
Yeah, like I think my favorite encounter in the game was with Merkel because it was like a small encounter with like cool shit that the boss did. But every other encounter is just like, hey, here's one dude that does a lot of things, and then here's 12 dudes that also do annoying shit.
You probably would have liked the Answer fight a lot, I bet.
Yeah,
The Wormway
answer is
guy?
really cool.
That is pretty similar. Yeah,
It's just
pretty
you versus a
similar.
big ass fuck off dragon.
Yeah, I didn't do that quest because I was like, do I want to do this? And then I went to the Wikipedia page of what the quest is, and it just kept scrolling, and I was like, no, that's too long.
I mean, it's like a whole dungeon. It's
Yeah.
maybe not quite as long as House of Hope, but similar.
It's
It
definitely
looked
not as long
huge.
as House of Hope.
You get a chess puzzle though. You just get to do chess.
Ooh, it's like System Shock.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean
actually, yeah, it's funny.
that whole thing leading up to Answer is just a puzzle dungeon. There's one combat and it's like a scripted just survive for 4 turns combat.
Ah, yes, the Cast Globe of Invulnerability encounter. I enjoy that one. Where
Yeah, the only
I don't know if it's just a keyboard mouse experience, but every time I had to interact with a puzzle, I fucking hated it. I just felt like I didn't know what the options were, or like how to interface with things, or like if I missed a whatever, like not perception check or something. Like I just
yeah, because of like alt not highlighting everything, right?
Exactly.
It only shows what
Mhm.
lootables.
I don't even know what the fuck it shows.
Yeah, I don't either. It's fucking whose
Nothing.
line is it anyway?
Yeah, it's nothing.
Yeah, I can't believe that, because again, like if you because I've never had the experience of playing on keyboard mouse like for a playthrough. I have no idea how you would do like that Act 2 library puzzle if you just
don't.
gotta hover over every single book on every single bookshelf. Like, what the fuck?
It's so weird.
The thing that has made me like I'll never switch over to controller if I play this game again is the auto loot mod. Oh my god, that thing was a godsend. Because it just auto loots everything. It puts it into like an infinite bag of holding. I just put the 3 different bags it gives me into my hotbar, and I never had to worry about shit again.
Yeah, that sounds sick.
Yeah, that mod is compulsory, even though it's pretty goddamn broken, because
Yeah.
all it does is just auto loot things in like a 30-meter radius, which is huge.
I thought you were gonna say like functionally it had issues, because there was like a highlight everything mod that like I saw people saying that like there's a lot of issues with it or something, so I didn't even like install it.
I think the auto loot mod might still be like really fucked up and overpowered, because I think it unlocks some containers. Like
That's hilarious.
Sometimes I would use the skill and I would see the word unlocked and I was like, huh, that's cool. It's in my bag of holding now.
Jordan, did you still? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I mean, like if something's locked and you can lockpick it, I think that's a trivial task anyway with save loads. So go ahead, Seth.
I was just gonna ask if did you still want to talk about like some of our standout narrative points for Act 3, or do you feel like we touched on that already?
Did I write that down as a question?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like we already talked about it, because mainly the point of that question was I thought that there were none. So why don't you guys tell me what the good ones were?
I mean, I do feel like everything with Orin is actually pretty good.
Oh yeah,
Gortash is not good, but everything with Orin is quite good.
Yeah, Orin is awesome. I love the Temple of Baal.
Yeah, I think the main problem is like basically the Netherbrain. Like I think the Netherbrain sucks. Like
yeah, Netherbrain and Gortash both very kind of shitty.
Like
yeah.
To just fanfic write for myself for a second. Like I wish that fucking like the crown got knocked off the brain's head, and then the brain's on your side, and then the crown manifests into like some god fucking thing or something. Like I don't know, make that shit happen, and then you fight the crown like with the elder brain on your side. That would be fucking sick.
That sounds like a fucking JRPG.
Use it as a mount.
That's what I grew up with. Ben grew up with these games. I grew up with JRPGs, so that's why that's.
It's actually so. So you're talking about like outlandish ways that this game could have been. This is very much a non sequitur, but I think it's worth bringing up because it is about Baldur's Gate 3. But George Zeitz originally wrote like his idea for what Baldur's Gate 3 could be. So you do you guys care about spoilers of Baldur's Gate 2?
I don't care.
Okay, so one of the endings of Baldur's Gate 2, specifically Throne of Baal, is that you can literally just become Baal. And that's just like your fate. You become a god and you're the new god of murder. And so his idea was that like because Throne of Baal was like Dragon Ball Z basically in terms of power scaling, he was like Baldur's Gate 3 means you should go beyond that. What he wanted to do was you were Baal and you played as like an avatar. You just sent an avatar of yourself to like just do stuff, and your party members would also be gods. So like Mister would send her avatar and she'd be in your party, and you just have like a party of gods just doing godly shit. And I just thought that was just an interesting Baldur's Gate 3 fact.
That sounds sick.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
It sounds like a crazy deviation.
Sounds like Wrath of the Righteous.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of.
Is that what segued into Mask of the Betrayer? Out of curiosity.
I have no idea. I just know that he wrote something like that. Like that's like if he were to do Baldur's Gate 3, that's what he would have done.
Yeah.
Basically.
To be honest, it sounds narratively cool, but that would have been a fucking nightmare to play.
Oh
It would
yeah.
have been
Oh
horrible.
yeah, for sure. Like I feel like there's a very low chance it could have been a good video game.
It's a
really
cool ass idea. It's a cool ass idea until you realize what it's actually like to be like level 50 in Throne of Ball, and
I mean,
casting buffs and shit is so annoying.
when you think about it, though, isn't that actually what's going on in Baldur's Gate 3? Like, every character is the chosen of a god. Like, the main cast is just the chosen of Jurgle. So isn't that literally just what's happening? We're just playing the avatars instead of the gods?
I guess yeah, kind of. I guess I don't know, maybe it's just the way that he wrote it, but like my impression was that you were literally Ball, but just sending out like a simulacrum of yourself so that you're never in danger or something like that. You just treat things as a god and you have like godly solutions like that.
Yeah, like you gotta realize, like at the end of Baldur's Gate 3, you're level 12. At the end of Throne of Ball, you're what, like level 40-ish? Somewhere like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, the power scaling by the end of that shit, like the Dragon Ball Z comparison is not far off.
Well, we'll
Wait,
still
Throne of
give a
Ball
shout out.
is that a Baldur's Gate 2 expansion?
Yeah, so
Okay.
so when people
Yeah.
say the Baldur's Gate trilogy, they're talking about Baldur's Gate 1, 2, and Throne of Ball.
Oh, that's very confusing now that there's a Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what is there like what's the max level in D&D then?
20
It's
in
20.
tabletop.
It's 20. They just said fuck it.
Oh, okay.
And it doesn't play nice. Like the rules get really fucky wucky, and it really does not work that well, to be honest with you.
Yeah, like if you go on like a D&D subreddit and ask like, man, I'm really having trouble challenging my party of level 4 or my party of 4 level 20 adventurers. What should I throw at them? And they're just like, a new campaign. That's the only thing you can do. Thomas, you wrote down some stuff about the performances of Minsk. What exactly did you want to talk about with that?
I guess I was just curious about how you guys felt about not the portrayal of the character itself, but the actual performance between OG Baldur's Gate, which is the iconic Jim Cummings playing Minsk, versus Matt Mercer. And I guess I don't really have like the strongest opinions in the world. I was just curious what you guys think, because that shit pissed off a lot of boomers. And I think if they were to get anyone to replace Jim Cummings, Matt Mercer was a good choice. But yeah, I'm just curious what you guys think.
Yeah, I think Jim Cummings is a fucking legend. So I think thinking of it as a replacement is a bad idea because that guy's really fucking good.
Yeah, I think there was a reason why they couldn't use him. I think it had to do like, so there was kind of like an issue with hiring him. But regardless, I think that Matthew Mercer did a good job because I know that Matthew Mercer is like a big deal and like very well known, but I actually don't know anything about him other than the fact that I've seen his name in a bunch of places. But I thought his Minx was pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, separating it out for the performance, and this is a hot take. I hope I don't get a lot of hate. Probably will from external individuals. Pretty sure Matt Mercer only got the role because he was the GM of the most popular D&D podcast.
Yeah,
by a lot.
No, I agree with that, but I actually think that that's a positive. I actually think that that's like a cool like bone to throw out to the Dungeons and Dragons community, like writ large.
Yeah, I agree. But as someone that's listened to 600 hours of Critical Role, you know, I cannot hear Minsk. I can only hear Matthew Mercer, even though his performance was good.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, it is Matthew Mercer, and then he like at the end of his words, he brings an accent in. It is kind of like weird.
That's just Matthew Mercer voice acting, in my opinion. I'm not gonna hate on the guy because he's amazing, but
Yeah, he has a good voice.
He does not have the widest range in the known universe.
Yeah, I mean, he has a good Scottish accent because he is in fact part Scottish. In one of the campaigns, he did a lot of like French accents and German accents, and those were pretty good. Like, he's definitely talented. I don't want anyone to think that I don't think that Matt Mercer is talented, but I don't know. I think there's a lot of options they could have gone with.
I think he should have voiced a different character, to be honest. I think giving him Minsk of all people as Matthew Mercer didn't play into either of their strengths. Let's just put it that way. I don't think it was bad, but yeah, could have been better.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, again, and this is just like kind of like my standards for voice acting, where basically you're good enough or you're Chaos Wars, and he was good, more than good enough, at least for me personally.
Important question. Was there anyone in this game, NPCs included, that did not pass the Chaos Wars test?
I think everybody did at least a good job. I don't think anyone sounded like Final Fantasy 16 throwaway NPCs where it's like, what the hell?
Man, that shit's crazy considering how many NPCs are voiced.
Yeah. I think it's just having a good director, basically.
Real quick, I do want to just like bring up what Jordan just wrote in Discord. Yeah, Jim Cummings apparently was just busy, and that is all. just
It was
to be clear, I don't
scheduling
because he's yeah, exactly. Because and I do want to make that clear because I am a huge fan of Jim Cummings. Like, if you've ever watched a Disney movie, you're a fan of Jim Cummings, and I don't want to slander the guy or speak ill of him when it's not warranted.
He fucking rules.
Anyway, sorry for derailing a little bit.
I have a question. As Dark Urge, when you are tasked with becoming the unholy assassin, is there like a tree of people that can be a part of that like assassination before you bathe in blood, or is it always that little elephant detective fucker?
I'm pretty sure that's always the elephant.
I've only ever seen the elephant person, and I was very glad to bash that thing's head in, and I was very confused as that was the literal first time Minthara broke her oath, and I don't know why. Why that would that of all the things I did in this game in my evil dirge playthrough, killing that elephant was the one thing that broke Minthara's oath, and I do not get it.
I mean, I just want to give a shout out to the fact that I went to the murder tribunal. I fucking bodied Saravok on Explorer because I didn't feel like doing much more past that point. Murdered Saravok because I didn't want to be an unholy assassin. Go into the room where little elephant man is, and then you know what? I just fucking killed him anyway. I was tired of hearing his voice. Fuck him. No consequences.
True. Very true. Yeah, I was just curious if that's like a thing that's controlled somewhere else, or if it's just always him. So. Or her? Isn't it a her? Does not sound like a her.
Oh, I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure they refer to fucking elephant thing as a her. I could be wrong. And that really confused me when I saw that, but I'm pretty sure that is the case.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think that might be one of those things specifically to do with Ball that's kind of locked in. That, and also Gildro, the blacksmith that Orn can impersonate. Regardless of whether or not he gets impersonated in your playthrough, I think that when you go into the Temple of Baal, he's always going to be one of the corpses on like one of the stone slabs. But I might be wrong on that, so maybe not. I don't think I am though, because every playthrough I've played, I've always seen his corpse there in the Temple of Baal.
I kind of want to specifically ask Thomas his feelings on Astarion. I know Thomas fucked up the romance and stuff, but I know you hadn't done a playthrough with Astarion before, so I wanted to ask you about that. But also just to like ask everyone, for your favorite companion in your playthrough, did you feel like they were done well? Do you feel like more could have been done for their character? Are you satisfied with it? How are the feels?
My favorite was Minthara, and I don't think they did enough. Like I was hoping for so much more content, and all I got was just great writing, but no things to do with her, including romance. I was like, where's the content?
100% agreed. I was gonna say that pretty much word for word. Minthara is like the absolute best part of an evil playthrough, an absolutely fucking incredible character, charming in the most evil kind of way, just a really hot mom. And I really am disappointed that there's no companion quest or like additional content with her. As far as Astarion goes, I'm gonna make some enemies here. So,
Oh my god.
um, I'll preface this by saying I did in fact fuck up his romance. I think maybe by boning Minthara in the Goblin camp is what maybe caused that. I read a lot of things about how you could salvage it in Act 2, but I could not get any of those things to trigger. So my new RP just became being the most evil man in the world who is asexual, I guess. And so a lot of my perspective on Astarion is kind of baked from not romancing him, which I think probably changes one's perspective of his character a lot. Um, and don't get me wrong, Astarion is fucking incredible. That is probably the single best video game performance of an individual character. And the only thing I think is debatable is like choose your own adventure from Expedition 33. But um, really well written, but doesn't really kind of reach the highs that he had been hyped up to me. I'll just say that. Like, he was really good, but I felt like the way people talked about him, I was in for like the most wild emotional ride of my entire life, but instead, it was just really good. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just I felt like the way it was hyped up is it's a little underwhelming compared to the hype that I got, and I'm gonna blame that on me fucking up the romance.
One thing I'll mention, I won't go too far into it since it just sounds like you didn't get everything since you didn't do the romance. But I would just recommend like looking into it a little bit because I think there's some good details in there that you probably missed if you continue to percolate on that thought.
Yeah, and if I do another playthrough, I will 100,000% do a resist dirge playthrough, and I will not fuck up the Astarion romance.
What about you, Sesh?
What do I feel about Astarion?
No, the original question I was asking about, do you feel like your favorite companion was done justice?
No, that's feel like Karlach had shitty endings.
Yeah, I feel like we went through that at length.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate because to get her one good ending, you have to do like the most things about out of like any character. Like that one dungeon, the one that you were talking about, the Wormway with Will, where you fight the big dragon. You basically have to do that quest to get her good
Really?
ending. And there's like, yeah, because you need Will to become the Blade of Avernus.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I forgot about that. Well, she can.
Unless you're a romancing
I
her,
thought.
then you can also go with her to Avernus. But like, if you aren't romancing Karlach, then you do have to do that in order to like convince her to go to
I thought
Avernus.
she could go by herself. I'm pretty sure she can.
If they did, that was definitely patched in because I know when I originally did it, you either did it right or you got a
I
bad
saw
ending.
everybody say with Will, like she goes to Avernus with Will. So I don't know if there is a way to do it. But when I was looking into it, everyone always mentioned with Will, which is why I didn't do it because I was like, fuck Will.
I'm pretty sure you can do her by herself, her with Will, her with you, or all three of you. I'm pretty sure all of those are possible.
Be cool.
I I knew that all of them were possible except for by herself. I'd have to look into that. I'll take your word for it because I know that you know a fuck ton about this game, but that surprises me, and I feel like it was probably added after the fact
Yeah.
if it's
It's
there.
possible.
I mean, isn't when they first had her ending of going to Avernus, like they rewrote it since then or something? Wasn't it like more bleak?
You didn't have the epilogue, so basically, I wouldn't call it bleak, but it basically ends with you having like an action movie sequence of you and Karlach running at a bunch of demons with
Right.
your axes and
Yeah,
shit.
because they added that cutscene before they added the epilogue. Yeah.
Oh, so that happens, and then there's an epilogue where you're like, "Wow, I'm glad we killed everybody in Avernus" or something.
In the epilogue, what happens is that Karlach talks about you and her and Will's adventure in Avernus and how you guys found like maybe like some schematics to improve her heart so that she can go back to Faerun. Is that correct, or am I
Yeah, it's something like
inaccurate?
it's something along the lines of like we found one of Zariel's hell forges that we think can be used to repair my heart. So it's like kind of a optimistic note, aka it's a D&D one shot that I want to run.
So your epilogue like isn't a Withers party, like you're just epiloguing in hell with them.
It's
That
still
is-
a Withers part.
That is Withers' party, and yeah, he just uses his magical Withers bullshit to allow you and Karlach to attend.
Yeah, it's the same thing where like if Gale becomes a god,
Yeah.
he gets invited
Pulls
through
them
Withers.
down, yeah. I it sounds like that's like the preferred way, but I don't like how the game railroads you through. Like Karlach is like really like, I want to be the fucking mind flayer. Pick me.
Yeah, I fell for that my first time too. Don't worry.
Especially when that's like, you know, post-mortem the worst choice by a lot, unfortunately.
It feels
At least
slightly
my
better than letting her die.
The problem is if you go off of what our chosen if you go off what our god Withers says, Illithids don't have souls, meaning when she becomes an Illithid, then she is dead.
Yeah, but at least she's not dead.
At least she can still
She-
say some words to you
Yeah,
technically.
exactly.
Yeah, she's still being ventriloquized.
Kind of Terry Schiavoed with it, but still kind of there.
Weekend at Karlach's.
And I also think
Jesus
it's weird.
Christ.
Like, so if Shadow, I almost said Shadowverse. If Shadowheart stays on Char's side, you still find her parents.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's weird to
and
me.
you get a choice, and everyone who does an evil playthrough makes that choice. Where basically you just turn them into fucking living batteries for your char powers.
I will say
That's tight.
that is probably up there with one of the like most feels bad decisions of the entire evil playthrough, because she is like, even though she has performed every evil deed up to that point, she is so doubtful in that moment. Like you can very much tell she has absolutely zero desire to do this until you talk her into it. And then immediately after that, Char's like snaps her fingers and is just right back to not remembering shit. That one doesn't feel
I
good.
forgot that's how that goes. Yeah. God, the
Yeah,
the
'cause-
evil
'cause-
Shadowheart run is so good.
Yeah, because Shadowheart comes back and she just looks at these two fucking like puddles of goo on the floor, just like, who the fuck are they? Oh well, I'm super powerful now.
See, that seems so much better than fucking mopey ass fucking saloon Shadowheart when she dies.
Yeah, like unironically, and this is part of the reason I brought up the legacy thing earlier, is like both with her and Astarion, they just seem so much happier. Like letting them do the thing that they say all game that they want to do, but like once you start digging into it, it's just so sad. But like, yeah, Karlach as the Mother Superior, just running around the Sword Coast recruiting people into the Cult of Shar. Like, dude, there's no one more attractive than evil Shadowheart at that party. No one comes close.
Mm-hmm.
Facts.
Wait, that was something I was confused by. So I know like when you do like the good Shadowheart playthrough, she like changes her hair
Mhm.
to like white, and then in this playthrough, maybe I wasn't paying attention, but she was like, she also does that. Like does she change her hair? She says she does, but when I looked at her, it was like it's still black. Maybe I'm just confused. Did she like have a different style?
She
or
has
something, or-
different bangs.
Oh, okay. So that's it. That's
Yeah. Yeah.
why are you bothering me with this? It's
I'm
not a big deal.
Justicia now. I got a haircut.
Yeah, she makes a like way bigger deal of it than what is actually like justified. But it does change.
So funny.
Mama Shar says I did a good job.
Yeah, I think in retrospect, Of all the companions, because by now I have done every single one of their like A to B quests. I think Shadowhearts is my favorite. Astarion's is good too, but I think it's second to Shadowheart.
I don't know. I feel like just that scene where he stabs Cazador is just so goddamn good.
It is really
It's hard to
good.
beat that one. And the scene with Sebastian in the jail cell. Oof, that one
My
fucking punch.
you know, I'm gonna be honest. A big problem that I had with the whole Cazador thing. Again, this was the first time I did any of the Cazador shit, so I'd never really seen him in a cutscene, and he looked so much like Shang Tsung that it just bothered me.
That's funny.
Yeah, he's a funny
Yeah.
looking dude. Like, so this is you guys know the subreddit OK Buddy
No.
Baldur?
Yeah. It's a meme subreddit.
So for this is like a couple of years ago, maybe like 2 years ago, like but like the biggest meme was just people taking screenshots of a modded Kazor who's pregnant.
the
That was just
hell?
like the biggest thing on that subreddit. Anytime you went there, it was just memes of pregnant Kazador, and that's it.
What the hell?
But why?
It's the fucking OK Buddy culture.
Oh my god, that's funny. Did you guys like the fact that both Cazador and Leroican, both of them are kind of bitch boys? Like, they're like side villains in Act 3. Did they feel like they fulfilled their role well?
Leroican, I'm gonna say yes, because I think he is like he just kind of seems like he's supposed to be like that shisty bitch boy who just wants the night song, and I think he like hams up the role enough that it works. Whereas Cazador, I don't think really gets enough screen time to justify what he is.
I think Cazador could have used like some Vlaakith treatment where he like shows up every now and then somehow.
Throw him on the fucking pile of villains that needed more screen time in this game.
Yeah.
Just have him be like fucking Sephiroth from Final Fantasy VII to Astarion or something, where he just antagonizes him randomly across the place.
Exactly.
That'd be
yeah.
cool, actually.
Everyone needs a little Mazora in their life, you know?
Did you guys fuck her?
Oh, that was
Oh,
no,
yeah.
because in an evil playthrough, she's
Yeah,
not there.
There's no will in an evil
Did you kill her?
playthrough.
That was no. It's if you kill the Grove and Will
Yeah,
leaves because
there's no
too
Mazora.
evil, and he
Oh,
takes
yeah,
Mazora with
damn.
her. He takes the only good part of him with her.
I have fucked Mazora in other playthroughs, though.
Yeah, and then I would immediately reload
Yeah.
because every time I did
Yeah.
it, your romance
Me and
breaks up
fucking
with
Ben
you.
are the same person. I have the no romance limit mod, so I could just turn it back on. But even then, like everybody chastising me, I was like, "Fucking fine, I'll fucking load, fucking pussies."
It wasn't
cool
even
scene,
a
though. I liked
more...
it.
Yeah, it wasn't even a more fucked up scene than the evil Shadowheart romance scene, and they still get mad at you for it.
What's the evil Shadowheart romance scene?
Oh, it's so good. I fucking love it. It reminds me of a scene from Penny Dreadful, but basically she reveals to you that she had taken a vial of Night Song's blood after you killed her. And she says that, like...
Oh, she
yeah,
pours it on the
yeah.
statue of Selune?
Yeah.
Oh, that shit was
to truly
awesome.
become like a fucking servant of Shar, you have to commit an act of wickedness. And so to do that, yeah, she pours the blood of the Night Song onto a statue of Seluna, and you fuck in front of it, and you're both just covered
What
in the
the-
Night Song's blood by the end.
God, that's awesome. That is
It's so
crazy.
good.
That is fucking metal.
It's
Jesus
so good.
Christ!
And Thomas, it reminds me of that scene from Penny Dreadful where they like kill the guy and
Oh,
they're
I
like
know
covered
the
in blood.
exact one you're talking about. Dude, who the fuck are all of these cucks that I heard criticizing the evil playthrough in this game, saying, like, I heard nothing but bad things about the evil playthrough initially, like when the game came out. I don't know how much they've added since then, which is what spurred me to play Wrath of the Righteous, because everyone was like, yeah, don't even bother playing the evil playthrough, just go play Wrath of the Righteous. So I took that to heart. But goddamn, the evil playthrough is fucking awesome.
Well, I think there's a couple things. Like, number one, the evil playthrough was definitely extremely buggy on launch. Like, Minthara especially was just a buggy mess. there was just a lot of quality issues when it came from that. And outside of that, like, how much of that feeling is coming from the fact that there's now an actually good evil ending for you? You know, because
I
that
mean,
obviously didn't exist.
I didn't know what the evil ending was before, so
The only extent of the evil ending was being able to mind control everyone, and that was it. Not even the scene that you saw, literally just like a scene where you're on top of the brain and everyone has glowy eyes, and that's it.
okay, yeah, it would have
It's
sucked
hilarious.
if I didn't get the whole like sea of blood, blood moon, fucking still image at the end.
Yeah,
I don't know.
you wouldn't have gotten that, and you wouldn't have gotten the scene where you like mind control all of Baldur's Gate into killing themselves or getting eaten
Oh,
by
yeah.
elephants or whatever. Sorry,
I mean-
Sesh, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say this game is single-handedly responsible for me thinking that like playing evil playthroughs might not be that bad, because I think the good playthrough was just like boring as fuck. Like I think I would have had such a better time. Like I think I would still need the perspective of knowing that the good playthrough is such a nothing burger that like, okay, now like let's just fuck shit up, but still it was just like I
mean,
just don't give a fuck.
If
I would argue that the issue is less about being good and more about being tash.
True.
yeah,
Maybe.
I think if you have an aversion to evil shit in video games, the evil ending for Dark Urge, dude, it's fucked up. There's you won't like it if you have an aversion to doing evil shit, because it is fucking gnarly. And
See,
your
but-
party is dead. All of them are dead, no matter
But the
what you
problem
do.
is I don't really care about the characters, so I'm okay with that. Like that's what I'm saying. Like I didn't have such a good experience with a good run that I would think a bad run would be like, ooh, I don't like this.
I mean, you have a point in the sense where like when I played Wrath of the Righteous, like there were a lot of the good aligned characters that I just didn't really like, so it was fun to just
Yeah.
bully them as an evil character.
Exactly. Like it'd be fun as fuck to cut Kale's hand off and shove that shit back in the portal.
Yeah.
No, you keep
Oh yeah,
that.
you
shit.
keep it.
He goes
It's
back
in
in the
your
portal.
inventory.
You can fucking give it to the murder tribunal.
Does he die if you do that, or is it just
Oh, yeah.
undetermined?
Yeah, he
He's dead
dead.
as fuck.
It's the best. That's the absolute best reason to do a dirge playthrough. So you don't have to deal with his fucking like whatever that Act 1 thing where you have to like feed him
Yeah.
items. Fuck that.
That's funny.
But yeah, the evil playthrough, like, because I agree with you. My first playthrough when I was a goody two shoes, it was like I romanced Shadowheart and she got a good ending, but I guess I spoke about this already. But yeah, everyone else was like, it was like a tragedy the way that their playthrough
Mhm.
ended.
Well, I feel like we've gotten through pretty much all of our main discussion topics. Is there anything else you guys want to touch on before we do some of the more meta going forward stuff?
Act 3 is probably the greatest single sequence in a video game of all time. That's all I'll say.
It's so weird because like I think you're right as a whole, even though there's like nothing individually that would make me think that. It's just all together is
I mean, it has
making that trip.
flaws. We've talked about the flaws, but goddamn, is everything else just overridden by how much
Yeah.
fucking fun it is.
I had something that I still don't know if is a bug, and I just wanted to bring up to if you guys can confirm. So after I blew up the Steel Forge, I tried to go to Worm's Fortress via the Baldur's Gate side, and like the Emperor won't let me walk up to the gate because he says the brain's there. Is that supposed to happen?
I don't.
What?
Wait, you're trying
Are you talking about like are you talking about where
Yeah, I'm trying to go.
Gortash
Like, so
is?
you blow up the Steel Forge, and Gortash no longer has the Steel Forge dudes like protecting him. So you want to go kill him. But then if I try to go to where he was, the Emperor's like, the brain's here. You can't go there, and he teleports me back.
Oh, that's kind of weird. He shouldn't do that because, like, I mean, it makes sense that like you can't fast travel anymore
Right.
because Gortash is mad at you because you destroyed his army. I think that's actually surprising me because I thought that even like if you try to walk to actual Baldur's Gate, you know, near like where Figaro is, the guy that like is gonna get murdered if you
Yeah.
don't stop the murders. Like when you walk near that area, the nether brain is like very powerful there, and then like it makes it clear in like no uncertain terms that you'll basically lose the game if you keep walking. And I think that if you keep walking, you actually do lose the game, right? Like, does the Emperor actually come and save you?
So no,
'Cause
yeah, he teleports you
I've
back.
never tried it because I heard that
No,
you just
so, yeah.
lose.
So when
Okay,
when I
so
got to the gate, he goes like, "All right, if you're not going to listen, I'll make you listen," and then he just teleports you back to the start of the bridge.
that's were you able to get in
I
through
had
the
to
other
go to the
direction
other
at
side,
least?
and then the
Because
drawbridge is up, and I had to jump down to go through like the prison entrance at the ground, which I didn't know was there. I had to look that shit up.
That's really weird.
Yeah,
I'd never knew
it's
that.
something-
Huh, that's
yeah.
really weird.
Something about this
people
sounds
had that
really
issues.
familiar.
It feels like it almost should be intentional, but when I looked it up, like there was only like 2 Reddit threads talking about it, and they said like, yeah, you have to go through this entrance thing. It's a bug, but like I
Huh.
have no idea.
Was this after you had killed Orin?
It was no, I didn't kill Orin. I was
No, he did the steel
Yeah, so
foundry. He stopped the production of
I went to
the
the submarine
robots.
shit, and then after I did all that, and Gortash is pissed at me, then I went and blew up his steel forge, and then that's when I couldn't get in because the Emperor told me the brain's there, even though the brain wasn't there when I actually got inside.
That sounds like a bug. I can't.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever experienced that, and that's really weird.
I don't know what I did to make that happen. And then the other thing that happened related to
Yeah,
that was, as a paladin, when I blew up the steel forge, it broke my oath, which I don't know why it did. But then the fucker who gives me the oath back, never showed up when I went to my camp. So I was just like, all right, well, guess I'm oath
Oh,
broken
no.
now.
Which oath were you?
Shit.
I'm just curious. Because that is something that I really don't like in the game. Is like, I like the reactivity from breaking your oaths, and the amount of things that they took into account is really cool. But also, for something so punishing, they really don't spell it out for you very well. It's very open to interpretation for some reason.
Oath of the Ancients?
Huh.
Yeah, I have no idea.
AI overview says Oath of Devotion is often broken when destroying the foundry, especially if it incites or involves violence against the Ghanaians who are not directly attacking you.
Yeah, I don't know
I
if
guess.
like if somehow like one of them died or something. I don't know.
That, if I had to guess, that would probably be it. Like, there was still a living one inside, and
Yeah.
it killed him when you blew it up or something. That's kind of dumb, though.
That's what I assumed, but I was just like, okay, whatever. I'll just pay the 2,000 gold or the fuck the guy wants, and then he just never showed up. I was like, all right, well, I guess I'm just oath broken now.
Sounds like your game was bugged to shit.
Yeah, it was fucked up. I long rested like 6 times, and he just never showed up.
Oh, and he just never showed up? That's kind of weird. He was there in my camp because when I broke my oath, I actually didn't mind being an oath breaker because I think that the oath breaker subclass is actually cooler than just being a regular paladin. Like, you get special abilities just for breaking your oath. It's not like a downgrade, it's like a side grade. And then even then, like, I went to the camp not to like bargain with him. I just fucking killed him because he was just level 12. What's he to me? Nothing.
That's
I just
sick.
killed him.
Yeah, I learned that the Oathbreaker was sick when trying to figure out, like, am I doing something wrong to get my oath back? And people were like, just play Oathbreaker. Oathbreaker's sick or whatever. And I was like, huh, whatever. It was basically at the end of the game anyway, so I was like, well, I'm not too worried about it.
Yeah, I feel you said you downloaded a couple mods, right?
No romance limit.
Yeah, I guess that one should be fine. I don't know. I feel like every time I've downloaded mods, it causes a fuck ton of random bugs.
It wouldn't surprise me, yeah.
Just wanted to ask the question that Thomas wrote in here, which is, where should we expect CRPGs to go from here? What's the next achievable iterative step look like? And like, Jordan, I'm curious, when you answer this, like what could Baldur's Gate 3 have done to less sour your opinion of it?
I think those are 2 different questions for me. Which one do you want me to answer first?
You can just do the one that I asked, the iterative step one.
It's going to be LLM related, where an LLM is going to drive all of the scenarios, and you're going to be able to have like actual reactivity to where if you do something, the characters are going to be able to react to minutia that you do, and they're going to do that via just large language models being able to handle all of those requests.
Do the rest of you agree? Do you think that's what it's going to be?
When I think of CRPGs, I guess because here's what you just described. It isn't the same exact thing as Neverwinter Nights and Neverwinter Nights 2, but in those games, there's like a multiplayer mode that's centered around like having an actual DM that can control the world and like spawn mobs and like make them say stuff and shit. So it's not exactly what you're looking for because you want like true like AI level
I'm not saying
reactivity,
I
right?
want that. I'm saying that's what's going to come next. I like
Okay.
catered
You're saying that
experiences.
that's what will
Yes, that's
happen.
what. If you want to beat Baldur's Gate 3, you're not going to try to make more content. You're going to try to figure out a pipeline to be able to generate more content rather than just throw $200 million at it.
I actually kind of agree, which is why I'm disappointed because I thought that they were making like a level editor, right? But I haven't heard about it. And then I heard that they're not working on this game anymore, right? So
Yeah.
it's just not gonna
I mean,
happen.
there's custom campaigns that people are making. I think there's a couple out there already. You just can't get them through the mod manager, I don't think, because it requires advanced scripting.
Yeah, the mod tools allow for like some degree of custom campaign stuff, but I think they didn't want to run afoul of wizards, so they didn't make it like ultra powerful to where you can like just straight up make 100% original campaigns. I could be wrong.
People are working on stuff like that, just not
Oh,
through the mod manager. Like there
Yeah.
are custom campaigns out there.
is that because they didn't want Baldur's Gate 3 to be like a literal competitor to Dungeons and Dragons? Because I remember reading something about that like a couple years back, where there was like a what is it called? Like what's the online version of D&D where it's like where
D&D
you can
Beyond?
like store yeah, where like Baldur's Gate 3 was like a legitimate competitor to D&D Beyond where people were like, why would I do D&D Beyond when I can just play Baldur's Gate 3?
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't heard anything concrete, but everyone, because the thing is, I think if I remember correctly, is the the mod kit allowed for a lot of custom campaign, like a lot more creative control, but it had to get like jailbroken somehow is what I'm trying to say. And I think people figured out how to do that, but I don't know how powerful the tools become or if that's even still like a thing you can do, but I just remember a lot of people speculating that it was because of what you're saying basically.
I think custom campaigns for this game sound fucking sick.
Yeah, it'd be awesome. A lot of the older Infinity Engine games had custom campaigns that were really cool.
Yeah, I think there was one campaign a group of people were working on, like a really big one where you go to Menzoberranzan, which would be fucking awesome.
Oh yeah, to answer the question, I don't actually agree that LLMs are the next step purely because of the processing power that would be required to run a local language model that would like cause a lot of heartache for a lot of people currently, but down the road I can definitely see that being a thing.
I think it could be ran on a server and it's like a single player communicating with the server. The server like processes all of that at a speed that's insane.
I mean, yes, but that's so expensive for the developer that like that is an insane cost. I'm not saying it'll never happen. I just don't think that's the next step.
I don't know what the
Yeah.
next step of because I don't think anybody's beating Baldur's Gate anytime soon. So I think you're just gonna have like 5 to 8 years of like nothing that really competes with this game in the same way, and then
Yeah.
they figure out how to make the technology work.
Yeah, because like that's the thing, right? You
Yeah.
had all those AAA developers, like I think either right after or right before Baldur's Gate 3 came out, who were like, "Yeah, don't expect people to be making games like this."
Yeah.
Yeah, so when I read this question, what's the next achievable iterative step look like? I didn't think about it in like a whole different type of game that Jordan was thinking of, like with LLMs. I was thinking like if there's a next step that's like legitimate, that's like recognized by like everyone at large as like being something amazing, it can only be Larian. None of these other fucking CRPG
Oh
developers are gonna
yeah,
do it. They can't. They do not
Yeah.
have it in them.
Yeah.
Period.
That's like
It's gonna whatever it is,
Wait,
it's
could
gonna
it
be
not
from
be
Yeah, I
Larian.
mean,
Owlcat?
No, fuck no. Owlcat's great,
No,
but
They're not.
Owlcat
No.
could not make something marketable if their fucking company
Yeah.
depended on it. I love Owlcat. I think Wrath of the Righteous is straight up better than Baldur's Gate 3, but they are not it. When it comes to like mainstream appeal, making something that's like fucking like that seismically affects the industry, it's not going to be Owlcat. It'll be Larian, guaranteed.
Yeah, I mean that's like kind of a segue into a question I wanted to ask. Like, you know, Larian now has all of this money. They've proven they can do it. Part of the question is, will the next iterative step of this be in 5e, or is it just going to be DOS 3?
It's DOS 3.
They're gonna make DOS 3. Come on,
don't
come
do
on.
that, please.
Be reasonable. They are
They're-
going to make DOS
He,
3.
Yeah.
he will make that mistake. I know Sven
Yeah,
will make
he
that
is
mistake.
absolutely going
he,
to.
sh- he, sh- he should do Shadowrun or some maybe sci-fi, but like he's gonna do DOS 3. It's gonna be such a fucking disappointment. I hate that so much. Whatever.
Well, okay. I think I read they have 2 concurrent projects going right now, right? Like that's like a confirmed thing as far as I'm aware. If
They have
one of
2?
those is not Divinity Original Sin 3, I will fucking I don't want to commit to anything crazy. But there's no fucking way that it's not TOS 3.
I know it's gonna happen, but I remember even when I was talking to you about this, like in the past, I think you had mentioned like it would be so in character for Sven to take all this fucking
Pour it
money
into
and then
Divinity.
just make a fucking Divinity game. Like, are you
I'm
fucking
telling
kidding
you
me?
that's like this fucking Sven made Baldur's Gate 3 so that he could crank up the production value on fucking Divinity. Like that's just the truth of
And
it.
has one goal in mind.
That's the only games they've made for 20 years
Yeah.
until Baldur's Gate 3.
I think it'd be very cool if they did something sci-fi though, like Men said with like Shadowrun or something. I think that'd be really cool.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be cool.
Anything outside of Divinity, I'll be excited
Although,
for.
I mean,
Yeah, I'll be happy for anything. I'll be happy for like Sonic RPG 2 or something. Like anything, literally anything other than Divinity. Please.
yeah, I mean,
Because Divinity has the worst world building
Of all time. Yeah, it's
ever.
not close. It's so
Ever.
fucking bad. As someone who actually does like Divinity Original Sin 2, God, dude, it was so insane trying to piece together the world building because it's 20 years of world building, but none of it's connected between any of the games. It's just a jumbled fucking shit show. It's crazy how bad of a job they've done developing everything around that world. It's ridiculous.
and I mean that's something we touched on in Act 1, right? Where like Larian having the world already built for them was, you know, kind of the perfect storm. And
absolutely.
you know, that's as much as I would want like something potentially sci-fi made by them. I haven't played Shadowrun, but man, if that world is as bad as you guys are saying with DOS, the world of Divinity, then I hope I'm not in for some extremely cringe cyber world bullshit.
So Divinity Original Sin 2, it shares a lot of DNA with Baldur's Gate 3, for better and for worse. Like a lot of the same flaws that are in Baldur's Gate 3 are in Divinity Original Sin 2. The problem is that Divinity is not as good everywhere else in such an overwhelming way, the way that Baldur's Gate 3 is. So those flaws feel a lot more damaging, I guess. I still think it's like an 8.5 out of 10 kind of game. Like it is a good game, but yeah, you got to prepare for Divinity Original Sin 3 because it's coming.
Well, although we just went into Divinity with that, I was kind of more curious along the lines of like, do you guys think that 5e is just tapped at this point in terms of like what a video game can achieve with it? Like, do they need to go to Pathfinder? Are there going to need to be more new custom systems like Pillars of Eternity? Is 5e cooked?
for me, because like I mean, for all the shit that I just talked about Larian and their Divinity projects, like they have a lot of range. Like they make a lot of different games. Like they made like a game called like Dragon Command, like Divinity Dragon Commander, where it's like a like a strategy game where you fly on the back of a dragon and just like breathe fire on people. Like they have a lot of range. It doesn't like for me, like when I say that they're the whatever the next big step is, it's not going to be because of the game having like a complex tabletop system. It's going to be the production value. That's all it is for me. That's what's going to drive like the what's going to wow everybody and impress everyone for good reason. Because I mean, when it comes to CRPGs, they are in a class of their own when it comes to production value. Where even it's just like everyone else is like just fucking poverty compared to them in the genre.
Yeah, like it's. I feel like if you could take all of the like narrative and gameplay designers from Owlcat and smush them together with the like resources and production value of Obsidian, it still would not add up to Larian.
Yeah.
I feel like all of that is pretty surprising given it is funny to hear you guys kind of praise Larian so much, even though my only experience of you guys speaking about it before Baldur's Gate 3 was just roasting the fuck out of Divinity.
Oh yeah.
It's very much a love-hate relationship, and I hate that Sven is going to funnel that back into Divinity.
Sven is the
Yeah.
anti-Ben.
I think of Larian as the when did Baldur's Gate 3 come out? 2023. I think of Larian as the 2023 version of From Software, where they did jack fuck of anything of any real value. Do not come at me with your King's Quest bullshit. I do not fucking or King's Field bullshit. I do not care. But then once they hit gold, it like forgave all sins, like and past transgressions. Like creating something of such like
Yeah.
transcendent value will do that, and Larian 100% did that.
Do you guys think that something like of similar quality to Baldur's Gate, but more on the scale of something like Disco Elysium, could surpass Baldur's Gate 3 in what it did? Or is that like a requirement, that scale?
The scale is a requirement because Larian does not do like small focused narratives well, like as we see in Baldur's Gate 3. Like the narrative is the one major flaw with this game, but it makes up for it with spectacle, scale, freedom, and just operating within the 5e rule set in a way that like only Solasta is even in the ballpark of, but don't play Solasta.
Noted. Well, in that case, you guys want to give our ratings?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Sure.
Why don't we start at the top with Ben?
This is pretty easy for me. I said it. I mean, I literally said what my rating was going to be for the past two Baldur's Gate 3 episodes. I mean, regardless of all the flaws, it's still a 10 out of 10. There are very, very, very few games that I will ever replay ever again in my old age. I'm about to turn 39 later this year. I just can't bring myself to replay games, but I gladly replayed this game for this, and I might play it again next year or in 2 years. And that's all I got. I do love this game, and warts and all doesn't matter.
How about you, Thomas?
I mean, yeah, right? Like, I'm not going to vacillate on how important, like, the Baldur's Gate games have been to me and my development as a living, breathing human, because I did that in the first episode, but I do just want to restate for the record that without these games, I would not be the human being that I am today. So, like, from it being the very first PC game I ever installed on my family's computer to reading the fucking Philip Athens novelization in my closet with a flashlight, like, to now, 20 some odd years later, like, to me, it's just amazing what this game manages to capture. And we've talked about some of the flaws, which are mostly, but not exclusively, relegated to the narrative, but like taken as a whole, this game did something that in my opinion, nothing else has ever done. And I can't even tell you how long it made me just. This game did something that nothing else has ever done, and which is make me feel like that 10-year-old in the fucking closet with a flashlight again. So, like, in a world that feels so jaded and cynical every day, a reprieve from that shit and an opportunity to step into the mind of my much younger self is a feeling that literally I don't know if any other game has ever done it in my adult years. So, while I do think that there's flies in the ointment here and there, it's like it's is it by a strict definition a 10 out of 10 perfect masterpiece? No, but am I going to give it a 10 out of 10 anyway? Absolutely the fuck yes. So eat shit. This is one of the greatest games of all time. Can't wait to see what Larian has cooking next, even if it is Divinity Original Sin 3.
That's 2 10 out of 10s. What do we got from Jordan?
Out of 10 out of 10. So
Fuck.
yeah, so for me, I never ever liked the combat even like a little bit, and it only got worse as like the game went on. Even like going to explore, I didn't really like it. And then yeah, we already talked about how bad like the main story and everything was, and like how engaging was, and then how bad the resolution for the companions that I cared about was, and then so for good things though, I think like the music is fucking awesome. And yeah, I think Raphael's theme and then Down by the River are like two just like of the best video game songs that there are. And then just like the overall like writing for the dialogue is super fucking good. And I kind of wish like every game kind of adapted like that way to write. And of course, like the reactivity and everything is like an engineering marvel. But for me, when I got to Act 3, it was basically like, so me and Tom played Dragon Quest 11 like 4 years ago, and by the time we got to the post game, like, so Cole was basically always telling us, oh, it's going to get better, you just need to get to this. Oh, it's going to get better, just need to get to this. And then by the time we got to the post game, we had the option to either beat the game or do like basically the equivalent of a companion quest. We just basically beat the game because it's like I don't really care about anything that you set up. So that's kind of like where I got to in Act 3, where like I didn't do basically any of the dungeons, because by the time I got there and I saw like where my companions' resolutions and everything went, I was like, I don't really want to experience everything because what I have experienced hasn't been great. So going back and looking at all of the ratings that I have for games that I've given specifically in this, it's like I definitely didn't enjoy this game as much as I enjoyed Final Fantasy 16. So by rating standards, that means this game needs to be about a 6.5. And I don't think that it is a 6.5 game, but I think my first playthrough experience was a 6.5. So I think with how we do ratings, that's what it needs to be.
Oh shit.
Damn, I overshot it. I thought, and I was aiming low actually.
I super overshot it.
Same.
I don't think the game isn't that bad, and I think if I did another playthrough of Dark Urge, I'd probably be around like an 8, 8.5, 9. But
I mean,
I had a bad first experience. I think
if you ask me, as soon as Ben posted your screenshot of the end of game achievement, and I saw that your recently played hours were like 12, I was like, oh, he's gonna hate this fucking game. Like, this is a game that you really do have to like take the time, stop and smell the flowers, and just like do everything, because it's so much more rewarding to like put that time in.
Yeah, I think that's why I would like it more in a dirge, because I feel like it would probably have earned me wanting to put that time in. But it was kind of like that Dragon Quest 11 thing of where it's like everything that I've seen so far hasn't lived up to what I wanted it to be. So why would I give it more, basically?
Yeah, and if you ever do go back and play Dirge, I'll be really curious to hear what you think, because some of my like super positive feelings about that playthrough are just the way that it ties back into the original trilogy, and it solved a lot of problems that we never talked about, like how originally I thought Saravok's inclusion was just like masturbatory fan service, but when you go back and actually play Dark Urge, it's like, oh wait, this is actually fucking awesome that he's here.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah,
But
he
then,
had like
like,
no
at
gravity
the-
with me, and the fact that he was there was
Yeah.
very weird. I could say that.
Yeah, like when you play it as Tav, or I mean any other origin, then it just feels like a ham-fisted, like, why the fuck
Yeah.
is Saravok back in this game? But obviously that character is going to be core to the Dirge experience. So yeah, it is strange to me that isn't the default, or at least not more incorporated into Tav, you know?
My thing is, Sven specifically said when this game was released, like, don't play Dark Urge for the first time. Like, play a Tav your first time. And maybe Divinity Original Sin 3 is going to suck.
I was just about to say that Sven saying that doesn't surprise me at all because he made Divinity.
All right. As for my rating, I mean, I already spoiled it on the TASHPod website. And in previous episodes, I believe that I've already touched on like how much this game affected me, how much it affected positively my relationship with Cass. Love you, Cass, if you ever listen to this. It was a very important game in my life. It came at a perfect moment for me. And if there's like I wrote stuff down for this and I put it in the comment thing to read on the TASHPod website. But listen, if there's anything I can say about this game is that it is a source of inspiration for me, and I feel like there's no better thing that you can say about a game than that. The game will live forever in my head. The game will live forever, period, because it's a great game that's going to go down as one of the GOATs. And I'm hoping that despite my lower rating of Act 1, that this game still scores higher than Expedition 33, because I do enjoy this game better than Expedition 33. It's a 10.
Jordan tanked any possibility of that, I'm afraid.
Oh no,
Not
I just
intentionally.
meant for my personal rating.
Yeah, like I don't think 6.5 is like not a fair rating for what this game is. But yeah, I had to just go back and be like, did I enjoy this game more than System Shock? Yes. As much as Final Fantasy 16? No. And that means it's a 6.5.
And here's the thing: if I got that Karlach ending, I would have fucking uninstalled. And I've never seen that ending because I just can't do it. Like I fucking love Karlach.
I also don't know, like, if when I play the game for the first time, if I would have loved it as much as I did if it wasn't for like Cass playing side by side with me, and
Yeah.
I'm seeing like all this other shit that didn't happen in my playthrough. You know, like that. You know, that does affect your experience for sure.
Yeah, and my experience with like basically salvaging the desire to even play this by playing Divinity Original Sin 2 about 2 weeks before Baldur's Gate 3 came out, and then just kind of being like, you know what, I will play BG3. And then like just absolutely falling in love with it, just head over heels. And like, you guys don't understand, dude. I was playing this game. This is the game that inspired me to start playing video games at work. That is Baldur's Gate 3. And so even when I wasn't playing Baldur's Gate 3, I was on the subreddit in the news section, and I was like helping people, and I was like answering questions.
That's
I probably had like 1,000 comments in that subreddit because I was just so obsessed and enamored with the game that anyone who was like, hey, how do I do this? I was like, I know how to do that. I'm going to tell them. And I got so involved with like discussion and everything else, and like just being on that like bleeding edge of a game that I've absolutely fucking loved was a big part of the experience.
Yeah, I think another big thing is like if the more familiar you are with D&D, probably the more you're gonna love the game. And as someone who's basically not familiar with it at all, that was like another big like friction point because the game I think does a terrible job of explaining how to play D&D in it.
Yeah, and I think that's totally fair. I guess like I have so many people I know and so many people I'm friends with are like so familiar with D&D that it didn't even occur to me to be like, maybe I should tell Jordan to watch like a 5-minute overview on how D&D works before he installs this game.
True.
Because like the rules are really simple, but if the game never tells you them, then it's not really doing you any favors as you learned.
It's surprising to me that the game's as popular as it is, and it can get away with not having like a tutorial at all for how D&D works. Like how many people are like put up with it basically.
You might also be underestimating just how many people have played D&D enough to like know the
That's
rules.
true too. It might be
You
like
also-
all of the TT people.
You also might be underestimating just how many people play on Explorer and nothing else.
True. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you could literally just explore and then just use attack on everything and beat the game.
Yeah, and like I mentioned in the first episode too, like a big criticism of this game when it came out was this game is too fucking hard. Like specifically for people without 5e experience. So it's not like you are alone in that feeling.
Yeah, and like I don't think difficult is the right word. It's like tedious, cumbersome, and overwhelming. Like it's because the game, even when I was on Tactician, didn't feel I'm sure it's difficult on Honor, like especially like one save Honor or whatever the fuck you call that shit. Like that sounds like a nightmare. But like I don't think baseline the game's difficult. I just think if you don't have the D&D background, it's just a fucking lot to absorb, and the game does you no favors in helping out.
I think that if you don't know what's broken, it is a very difficult game. I think
Yeah.
that's definitely true.
I think difficulty
100%.
matters too. Like obviously, like Explorer, that's not true, and even Tactician doesn't feel that true. But I think on the actual difficulties, for sure, that's true.
Yeah, like I mean, the thing to keep in mind is I was playing honor mode and I googled basically what are the 4 most broken builds in the whole game, and I still struggled in some fights. So like the game is just hard.
Oh, for sure. Like there's no doubt at the higher difficulties, like it's a hard game. Like what the honor mechanics that you guys talk about just makes it seem like it's fucking crazy. The shit that you need to do to beat them.
Yeah, and that's also why I really enjoyed not necessarily going all the way down to explore, but maybe playing on normal with the honor mode rule set. I did that for a little bit, and I think that's like, at least for me personally, it might be like the ideal and the most fun way to play through the game because you get
Yeah.
all the cool honor mode mechanics, but you miss
Yeah.
less, and that's it's it's like
Yeah.
dopamine. Like when you miss, you just lose
Well,
it all.
it's-
You get the anti-dopamine.
It's good to see what I said before we even started this echoed, which is that my favorite playthrough is a custom playthrough with the honor mode rule set, and you just crank up, your proficiency bonus, you have the amount of camp supplies that you need to long rest, you double the amount of gold that you get.
Yeah.
I love doing playthroughs like that.
Yeah, that sounds sick.
Well, shit, fellas. Next week's going to be the first week that hasn't been Baldur's Gate 3 or Hello Charlotte in a month and a half. What
We
the
don't
fuck
know what it is.
What are we playing next
We
week?
don't know.
get
and
to
we need
do-
well, yeah.
Still,
Yeah, we
Let's
get to
Talk
do-
was in 2 weeks.
I will play. I will play
fuck,
through
you're
Silk
right.
Slop in a week. I can do it.
If you want to get to Act 3, I don't know.
I'll do
I
it.
mean,
That's gonna
I
be a
promise
lot.
you.
It's a lot.
I can do it. I took Friday off. It's
Well,
my birthday.
It's up to
It's
Ben
my
then.
birthday. I'll spend it playing Silk Song.
It's up to Ben then.
I'm not going to get to Act 3, but I don't want to, like, if we want to do Silk Song next week, I'm fine with that, and I'll just do my analysis based on what I experienced. And for what it's worth, after modding the game, I liked the game a lot. But I know this is the Baldur's Gate 3 episode, and this is more like a teaser for the next one, but for Silk Song, my rating
You need 2.
is very, very, very different when you take the base game versus my modifications.
I mean, I have 2 ratings too, based on if I can use cheat engine or not. So the more I play the game, the less I think that rating separates.
I took it all fucking natty, boys. I took it all natty.
Yeah, that's my plan too. So I'll be curious to see like at what point like I get to where it's like, God, I wish I was fucking cheat engineering because yeah, I mean, so far the game's been fucking easy, but I guess I haven't done anything.
Have you ever gone up to a map thing yet where you haven't had enough rosaries to use it?
Oh yeah, many times. This shit's
well, then
annoying.
You're gonna be fine.
We give no free ads. All of this is discussion for these lovely people to hear next week.
See ya.
Bye, Craig.